Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Monday night. It is time for revolutionary change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and guys, we need a check-in from the audience on our audio because I think
So far, so good. I'm not hearing the echo, so I'm going to go with it because at least if it's not annoying me, I'm not going to need to leave. So it's good, right?
nice dining room, by the way. Didn't get a chance to tell you.
What? Dining room?
Yeah, behind you.
Oh, you saw it. You were here, no?
Well, the room is all cleaned up now.
Well,
That's
there's
what.
no chickens. The chickens are now official. The chickens live outside now full time. So I finally have a house without chickens,
But
which
they
is
seem
nice.
to have been pretty well behaved while they were there, so I can't really say that that's
Well,
just.
I mean, they're chickens in a cage setting, so they're pretty harmless, but, yeah, they're messy and there's a reason that they're livestock. They belong outside.
Yes, but they are pleasant, I would say.
Yes, my chickens are very pleasant.
Guys, smash that like button if you can. I want we're Jen and I are messing around with the format right now, and it's something that we're going to figure out in terms of what is going to be the best way forward. But I think getting a little bit more organized in terms of our stories, I think is definitely going to be helpful. I think you would agree.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been begging to do for years, so yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, so even in the moment when I'm trying to be nice, Jen wants to remind me
Well,
of
you're
what
like,
you.
is that okay? Yes, that's what My
I want to
job in
remind.
life is not to, like, coax, coddle, and praise you. You know what I
No, you
mean?
don't have to do that. I didn't
Okay,
ask you to. I've
okay.
never asked you to do that. I
Mm,
think that there are no, no, don't
mhm.
even go
You're
there.
right, you never want recognition for anything.
No, actually, we've been over this. There are a lot of things that you and I have done in politics where we have never gotten recognition. We've never gotten even so much as acknowledgement.
Yeah,
And
well, that
as
is
I s-
true.
and I said a long time ago that that's par for the course. Like you have to
APAC
accept that.
tracker, APAC
Yes,
tracker.
yeah, that's why. But you can't give me one. You're not going to let that go. So just give me 1 second.
What, APAC tracker? I'm not gonna let that go? I'm never gonna let that go because
No,
I
they,
know, and they know that I know that they know how it all went down.
yeah.
So I know.
One thing I do know for sure, and we'll talk about this with Mo and Mia when they come on. Too too often in this broken system that we're trying to figure out a pathway forward in to create a revolution, which Jen, you've insisted is happening, that
We're
a
in it.
revolution. We're in it.
We're in it.
Yeah. I think that people are becoming way less tolerant of things that in the past I think they would have just, let flown by the wayside and, would not have allowed them. Somebody said that my mic is too low. Is that true?
I hear you. I hear
Okay.
you okay,
I just
but
want to
I
make
don't,
sure.
you know,
Always got to pay
whoever
attention.
said that, maybe it possibly be you? I mean, I'm very loud, so maybe you just, turn up your volume a little bit.
Yeah. That's well,
All right, they
that's
say you're good. I mean, I hear you fine.
okay. So I bring this up because when Bernie Sanders ran for president the first time, I had never seen anybody really use a platform to talk about the importance of single payer healthcare in the United States at that level. No one had ever done it before. And
Nope.
well, in fact, no one had done it since JFK. No one had really used their platform in that regard. And so it became sort of a learning experience because so much of what the propaganda had insinuating was that, oh, America can't afford health care. That's not going to happen. We can't afford. No, we can't afford not to have health care. And so I went to, you guys remember about a month ago, a little over a month ago, I was sick. I had a bacterial infection and I needed to get medicine. And so I ended up going to one of the urgent care facilities that's close to where I live, and I do not have insurance. And so I paid the fee, which was $190. I mean, it's not pocket change by any stretch. However, a month later, I get another charge to my card, this time for $300. They charged me without my authorization. So my total financial responsibility for just going for a checkup to get medicine was almost $500. And it was about $550 when you factor in the medicine that I had to pay for as well. Most people cannot afford this. And this is just for a basic doctor visit. This isn't for a slip and fall. This isn't for surgery. This isn't for like a heart attack, something very serious. And yet, in my situation, I mean, this is off the charts insane what they think they can get away with. Now, Jen, being the lawyer here, insists that there's probably something written in the fine print that if they want to back charge you for something that they claim is something you either approved of or knowing that you went in there, you would be responsible for that. That was not the case. Usually the way it works is that if there's an additional charge for any service, they will typically send you a bill, and then you can either fight them on the bill, etc. They could put you into collections, etc. No, they actually charged me without my authorization. And having to fight this, I can imagine for somebody, for just any average person, is a nightmare that occurs all too often. And you can imagine, Jen, audience, how much of healthcare, or again, it's not healthcare, it's health, it's the health system. It's the for-profit health system that we live under. And so as a result, how much of it is actually bureaucracy? How much is it that they have these collection agencies? How much of it is these administrators that you have to get on the phone with to say, why are you charging me all of this extra money? What was it exactly, you might ask? Apparently, I wasn't informed that if I got a strep throat test or a COVID test, yeah, that's an additional heavy charge that you're going to get for it, even though I knew what it was that I had. But again, the doctor did not indicate that I would be charged extra for what I did. So this is just a prime example of how broken this system really is. And again, how many people go through this on a regular basis? And as Lee Argent says, we don't actually have free NHS healthcare. UK, we pay $20 per week national insurance. Again, $20 a week, $80 a month. I think most people would be agreeable to that, to have a universal system. And don't get me wrong, in the UK, it's been completely broken apart in many respects by the Tories. This has been their thing ever since Maggie Thatcher was the prime minister. So this is where we are. And I disputed the charge. We'll see what happens. But we can't live under a system like this anymore. This is absolute horseshit. And we cannot accept anything less than what is absolutely necessary for us to live, not to survive, but to thrive. We need a single payer system. I'm tired of getting angry about it. I'm tired of yelling about it. I know that the story that I just shared, and Angela, the lovely Angela here, who works in a doctor's office, says the health insurance companies are completely unnecessary. They are the for-profit middlemen in between us and our doctors. They have no reason to exist. Zero. I don't care how many jobs they created. They do not need to exist. The people that have those jobs, there will be an initiative to get them rehired in other positions. And if it's administrative, so be it. But in for-profit health, that doesn't need to exist. Do you know how much money, Jen, audience, do you know how much money this country would save if we had a single payer system based on the system we currently have? Do you know how much it is?
Somewhere about $10 trillion.
Well, that's over time. It's $500 billion a year. That's how much we would save.
All right, Henry, I just want to put this out there, guys. If you receive a jury summons in regular mail, meaning that it wasn't certified, meaning that you didn't have to sign for it, that means that it can't be proven that you actually received it, which means if you don't show up, they have no recourse. I've been doing this for years now. My dad's been doing this for years now. If they really need people, if they need to prove that you received something, then they need to send it certified mail. Just little tidbit of info for y'all. Save y'all some time. Anywho.
David Hunter is absolutely right. And look, New York City is one of the very few places in this country where you might have a chance at getting some decent health care. And that's very light, to say the least.
Hi, Leo.
I'm not familiar with that, Leo, to be honest, but I could look into it. If they're having a hard enough time passing it in Washington,
Yeah,
in California,
Florida.
the best shot you got is New York. But if you're having trouble there, you can imagine how difficult it would be to try to get it done in the state of Florida. Because what you also have to remember about Florida is that it isn't so much that it's a deep South conservative state, it's that it's a billionaire's paradise. They move to Florida so that they don't have to pay anything. That's basically the point. They pick and choose what they want to give their money to, and giving money to the least of these so that they can have health care. Well, you can imagine where on the pecking order something like that would end up for those types of people.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in Florida.
Nope.
I don't see how that would happen in Florida. The only way that there could ever be some sort of health care given in Florida would be completely private. People would be profiting, and somehow there would be I mean, that's the only way it would ever exist here. It would never exist here as a social good. And it's just, no. Not
No,
gonna
and
happen.
then again, I don't think we would be capable of breaking through all of the propaganda at the state level in Florida. Do I think Florida has the bandwidth to do a statewide healthcare system? Yeah, it probably does. But again, you're talking about a completely different type of wealth in this state compared to other states. Florida is one of the wealthiest states in the country, and it's also one of the poorest at the same time. So you try figuring that part out.
Exactly. Florida's way too greedy for that.
Yeah.
And also Florida has, I believe Florida and I forget which other state have like the highest income inequality.
Yes, we do. They're right at
Our
the bottom.
income inequality is horrifying. Like we're one of the worst.
But is that really surprising though?
No, but that's so this is not the kind of that's not the kind of state that thinks that regular people are entitled to health care.
Mm-hmm. You'd probably have a better shot in Georgia, to be honest.
Probably.
Now, I know that when it comes to certain topics that obviously we want to cover, one that you have emphasized a lot, and I definitely agree, is everything that is going on internationally right now. There are a lot of balls in the air, like a lot of them. But if there is one that you in particular have been very adamant about, is that Iran holds all the cards right now.
They have the entire time. The entire time. There has not been a time since this whole thing started that Iran wasn't holding all the cards. The fact that our leadership doesn't seem to acknowledge that doesn't change the fact that it's so, So, yeah, do you have the 6 point? So if people have not been paying attention, the last possible off-ramp that the Trump administration, or shall I say the Epstein regime, I love that. That's what Moranti's been calling them. The latest off-ramp that they possibly could have had was the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding that we had with Iran. But we violated it immediately. Like it never even took effect. So we violated it immediately. And so now, and I had said this then, they're done negotiating with us. So this is how people need to understand how far apart we are from our position is in terms of the Trump regime versus the Iranian government's position. You have to understand how far apart they are. So like Trump's regime, they think that they're still negotiating Iran's nuclear program and how much enrichment Iran can have and whether or not they can have nuclear weapons. Iran is not even going to begin to discuss that with them until their conditions have been met. So now that we violated the MOU, now Iran has come back and said, okay, now we won't even talk to you unless these things, I believe there's 6 points, 6 demands, have been met. So these are not the things that Iran is willing to negotiate. These are the demands that must be met in order for them to negotiate. And they're not playing and they're not gonna change their mind.
No, they're
And I
definitely
am
going to
finding
change
it
their
so
mind.
glorious. And we're going to go over these 6 demands. And I think that it's very important for people to understand that these demands should be the absolute baseline for them to negotiate with us, period. They are 1,000% correct. So we're going to pull up the nice 6 demands of this.
Go for it, Ben.
And technically this is to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but really at the end of the day, I don't see a universe wherein the Trump/Epstein regime is going to accommodate these 6 demands. So it's not going to, I just don't see that it's going to go anywhere, but.
Go up.
All
Go
right.
up.
So here
Up.
are the
Go up,
conditions.
Ben.
What do you mean? It's fine right there. What are you doing?
Start from the top.
We
President
don't
Trump.
Okay.
No, this.
You need to, I mean, I don't feel like we necessarily
I don't know
have
what you're doing. Ben, go to the writing.
I just want to go over the 6 demands. Like, I
Okay.
think that's all we really need to do. So just scroll to the 6 demands. Because it really doesn't matter what Trump says. This is all what Trump's remarks are. Does anybody care what Trump says? He's talking to imaginary people.
Excuse me, everybody cares what I say. I'm the man.
No one
I'm
cares.
the boss.
Okay, so these are the 6 demands. And if people thought that the memorandum of understanding had any sort of stringency in comparison to our original JCPOA with them, this is even further. This is how serious Iran is. So the first one is never threaten. This is the U.S. shall never threaten Iran with any language or insult the sanctities of this nation. So they're not even going to tolerate us insulting them anymore, which I think is brilliant. Number 2, lift the naval blockade. Number 2, end the war and aggression against Iran and its allies in, all these things are being listed, and keep in mind, this is the second point, Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen, and Iraq forever. In other words, get the fuck out of West Asia. Get the fuck out. Okay. And now this has to be done before they will even discuss things. This is so great. Number 3, lift the naval blockade and withdraw military forces from around Iran. Yeah, that should be a baseline, right? Because we shouldn't be there anyway. Can you guys imagine if Iran had its warships in the Gulf of Mexico and just hanging out right off of like the Baja Peninsula, and they're just, or maybe trying to go into like the Hudson River, just trying to get into our so, okay, that's great. So we're going to get the fuck out of there. Then there's pay the damages of the 2 wars of aggression and imposition on Iran without any reduction. I don't know, any reduction or reduction. I don't know. So they are actually demanding that we pay damages to them for the 12-day war last year and for the current war right now. Now, those damages, my understanding, are going to come in the fees that will be paid through the Strait of Hormuz for our use of it. Like, the days of us being able to just use that are over, and they're not coming back. And that is something that this regime can't wrap their heads around. Like, they're not negotiating their way back into being able to use that strait for free. Now they have to pay reparations for the damage that they caused. Okay, which I love. Now you've got lift the cruel and illegal sanctions against the Iranian nation, right? Which, again, baseline, because they are illegal. Those are illegal acts, according to, again, not that we follow international law. And finally, and this is important because this is even more than it was requested in the Memorandum of Understanding, unconditionally release the frozen and stolen assets of the Iranian people. Now they're getting all their frozen assets back. They're demanding all their frozen assets back. In the Memorandum of Understanding, someone correct me, they were getting a certain amount back. And now they're like, nah, we're not even talking to you until we get all of our property back.
Yeah.
So those are the 6 conditions before Iran will even have a discussion with us. And Trump is sitting there and talking about how he's trying to get them to reduce their nuclear program. That's how delusional these people are.
Well, it's not just about being delusional. It's about basically being backed into a corner and not being able to get out of it. And that's why we'll obviously talk about Netanyahu next. But this is, in so many ways, what we've been saying all along. And even though they don't put it in writing, basically what Iran is telling the United States, it's either Israel or it's your ass. Make a choice. We can't stop Israel from completely spiraling into the hell that they've created for themselves, but we can stop you from going with them. You still have a choice, Trump and administration.
Not really, because it really isn't our choice. It really isn't our choice because Israel's not going to let off of Lebanon. Israel's not going to stop genociding in Gaza.
Then Israel is going to cease to exist.
Well,
so it just
yes, that is happening, but it isn't going to come from we're not. That's the problem. In order for us to have this agreement with Iran, it requires the compliance of another entity that is completely non-compliant. So even if, let's say hypothetically, the Trump regime decided we'll agree to this, which they won't. They're not going to agree to this. And I saw you in the chat. Yeah, there was never really a MOU. It was always just bullshit because they were never going to do it anyway. But this is not going to go away. They're not going to be able to bully their way out of it. I, at this point, don't see any way that they could even save face in any way. The whole world has seen this. We have lost bigly. And now it's just a matter of cleaning up the mess that we made there. That's it. And they're done. They're not negotiating with us. They're so done.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on Sunday said an agreement with Oman to define new shipping routes through the strait was in its final stages, but reemphasized Tehran's call for the U.S. to meet certain conditions. This does not mean that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened, said Araghchi, of the progress regarding a new shipping route, insisting it remains contingent on the fulfillment of other conditions, which have been conveyed to the American side through intermediaries. Ismail Bagahi, spokesman for the Iranian Foreign Ministry, also reiterated several of Tehran's demands, such as the removal of the U.S. blockade and compensation for Iran, during a press briefing today. Scroll, please. The U.S. government continues to proudly go up a little bit. There you go. The U.S. government continues to proudly announce that it is besieging Iran ports and Come on, Ben. Ben, what's going on here, pal?
Yeah, there we go. He's doing it.
Come on, you can do it. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit higher.
Oh, you want me to get a little bit higher? I can do that for you, Peter.
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
I can do that.
Now, besides on harassing Iranian ships, in this situation, the U.S. has no moral or legal standing to complain about the Strait of Hormuz not being open. In short, you reap what you sow. Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper, who served under Trump from 2019 to 20, has referred to Iran's conditions as frankly ridiculous. Oh, is that so? What amount of leverage do you have? Where's your leverage? More bombs?
Oh, well, and therein is the rub, isn't it? Because as people also probably know, simultaneously, we're having a serious munitions shortage going on.
Oh, ain't that
and they can't keep lying about it because it's like sort of, the jig is up. So, yeah, we're losing bigly. It's glorious.
No, we're totally not.
Oh, it's so glorious. So pleased.
It shows that they believe that they have the upper hand. They believe they are winning and they are emboldened. And that's what we're up against right now after 5.5 months of conflict. Yes, that's correct. Iran should feel emboldened because they are winning. They're totally winning.
They are.
They're gonna get Jen. Iran is gonna win so much. You're gonna get sick and tired of their winning. Yes, yes, we are.
Well, and it's not even that they're winning. They won before this started, and I've said this over and over again. Our government, our people, our intelligence have no idea what the Iranians have and what their capabilities are. They don't. They have no clue. And the Iranians know everything about what our capabilities are. And they are just running out the clock because they know that we are running out of munitions. And they know that for every missile that they launch, we have to launch twice as many things, receptors, defenders, that cost more money, that we can't replicate fast enough compared to how fast they could churn out their missiles.
Yep.
So again, this is one of those things where it scares me immensely that I'm understanding the math, but people in high positions don't seem to understand that. Like, if country A has X amount of weapons and country B cannot defend those amount of weapons, right? Like, what am I missing?
The back and forth over demands and compensation has further tarnished hope for a new deal to be agreed upon. Rosemary Kalanick, director of the Middle East program at Defense Priorities, tells Time that these demands are the equivalent of Iran shooting for the moon. No, again, just be thankful that this is all they're asking for. Trust me, it could be so much worse. It really could.
If Peter and I were in charge of Iran, we would have already flattened Israel and there wouldn't even be negotiations. We'd be done. We would have nuclear weapons and we would have already annihilated Israel.
You're like, yeah, figure out another way.
That's the thing. See, I'm not Muslim. I'm not a Muslim. And so I don't have to be like concerned with the religious fatwa and this stuff because they actually have honor. See, the Muslims have honor and their religion doesn't allow the killing of innocents and striking without provocation. See, they're not allowed to do that, right? So they're very, I don't think Peter and I would be as considerate.
Definitely not you, that's for sure. Kalanick reasons the Iranian leadership may be factoring in Trump's domestic situation regarding the upcoming November midterms, making them all the more aware of the leverage they have as polls show Americans as feeling uneasy over the conflict and its financial ramifications. Yeah, well, hey, I mean, whatever leverage you get, right? Not to mention the fact that lawmakers have criticized the resumption of hostilities. And some Republican senators have joined Democrats in an attempt to limit Trump's ability to continue the Iran war without congressional authorization. Iran understands its power to coerce Trump is higher before the midterms than it is after. They're trying to maximize that benefit in the short term and in a way that's still plausible that Trump could get some benefit from making a deal with them in terms of the prices going down and staying low. Kalanick suggests that by going to Trump with some unattainable demands, Iran may be hoping to land some of their more achievable ones. In terms of reparations, that's also impossible. Oh, it's impossible. Sanctions lifting, that's a possibility.
Who is this again? Who's saying this is impossible? I'm sorry, who was?
Some woman who works for the Defense Department, it sounds
like. Okay, so it's a Defense Department spokesperson.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, fuck that. These are the same people that think that they actually have a chance of winning this still.
Meanwhile, Trump on Sunday said Washington is low-keying it with Tehran. We are only semi-negotiating with them. We are just watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact that they have no money. They're in very bad shape economically. Because of our blockade on Iranian ports. Again, this is really an emperor with no clothes type situation here.
It's so unbelievable.
The U.S. and Iran signed a memorandum of understanding on June 17, which outlined commitments aimed to ensure the full toll-free reopening. Call toll-free, 1-800-YOU'RE-FUCKED, on the Strait as part of the terms for an extended 60-day ceasefire to allow them technical. Scroll up a little, Ben, please.
Sean Hammer, let me answer this. It is not suspect why Iran has not annihilated Israel. Iran doesn't do that. That's not what they're not imperialists. They have no reason to do that. And right now, Israel is not the one that's attacking them. We are. So even though we're doing it for Israel, Iran actually has honor. So they have no reason to, they would not, they don't go and kill innocents. That's what we do. You're looking at it from a Western mindset.
Yeah. Technical talks to take place, but the respite after the signing was short-lived, with Washington and Tehran seemingly adopting different interpretations of the language used in the interim agreement. Tussle over the strait reignited, with Trump declaring the ceasefire as over, while at the NATO summit in Turkey on July 8, days of consecutive tit-for-tat strikes marked a resumption of the war that has stretched on for over 5 months. When the ceasefire collapsed, the U.S. reimposed its naval blockade on Iranian ports in the strait. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, said that on August 9th, it has redirected 55 commercial vessels, disabled 2, and boarded 2 to ensure in compliance. Before Iran's conditions landed, VP Vance was asked Saturday whether Tehran maintaining a tighter grip over the strait would be an acceptable status quo. Interesting. Our expectation is
wait. Would you read that again? I'm sorry. I think I'm hearing things. Can you
whether Tehran maintaining a tighter grip over the strait would be an acceptable status quo? You don't have a choice. They're going to maintain a tight grip on it forever.
It's
forever.
Theirs. This is the caucasity. This is such caucasity. This would be as if Iran was trying to like figure out how to control what comes and goes up the Mississippi River or what goes up the Hudson or any of like. That's how absurd it is for us to debate how much control they should have over their water. This is not international water, which even if it was, it's still none of our fucking business all the way over there. But this is fascinating that these people are actually legitimately thinking that Iran shouldn't just completely control what's completely theirs.
Correct. But again, this is what happens when you think you are the world's hegemon, still, to the extent that it was, let's say 25 years ago. It's just not. Iran can't completely close the Strait of Hormuz, but the U.S. can't completely open it. This is according to Kalanick again. The U.S. is using the military power to get some oil through, but not all of the oil to replace what was lost through the strait. You're never going to get it again. So you better start making adjustments.
And wait a minute, and this is misleading too. Wait, this is misleading too. No, Iran has never completely closed the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz has never been completely closed. It's been closed to us. Other countries and people that are not aligned with the Zionist entity have been able to go like this is, but because of our blockade, they haven't been. So we're basically punishing the other countries who are allowed to go through the strait, even though they're not the ones in charge of the strait.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's ridiculous.
Mehdi, I don't know where the hell you've been. I hope it was a good vacation, but it's good to see you. We've seen some of our people.
This is so ridiculous.
Scroll down.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. Like if Iran decided to start making demands about what comes and goes out at the bottom of the Mississippi River.
Okay. That's it. Stop. Prior to the Iran war starting on February 28, 138 vessels typically pass through the vital trade waterway during a 24-hour period. This pressure on global oil markets could eventually lead to a willingness from the Trump administration to give in to some of Iran's demands, just not necessarily the 6 issue. And again, when it's all said and done, you went from 138 to 13. 138 to 13. Let me tell you something. There will come a point where the tail will be between the legs, literally and figuratively. They will have no choice.
And everybody talks about how Trump keeps chickening out, like what he keeps threatening to like bomb their infrastructure, bomb them into another century or whatever he's going to do.
That's what he says.
Yeah, that's what he says. But he might not know this, but the people in his regime know this, that if that were to happen, then that would be the end of all of the Gulf Arab states. they'd be done. They would cease to be able to be habitable because their infrastructure would be destroyed and people can't live there without desalination and electricity, especially in the months right now. It's uninhabitable.
And
so they know that, and Saudi Arabia is scared. They're running really scared because they are not capable of managing Yemen as much as they would like to. Okay, now we're getting whatever just happened, undo it. Whatever you just added, Ben, whatever that just happened, it gave me an echo. Something happened. Oh, you know what it is? It's
what is it?
No, it's not a guest on it. I saw something move, so I don't know if Ben added something. But I saw the slides like add, and then it went into an echo.
Well, let's.
I'm not. But it was good up until just now. So what was the change that happened in the thing? All right, I'm going to go and again if it works.
As we continue, because the show must go on. Now, we have reminded everybody, and will continue to remind everybody, that at the end of the day, this all comes down to Israel, and it always will. All of these demands, all these things. If Israel was not in the equation, we wouldn't be dealing with this. And to prove that point, in light of everything that's been going on, and let's...
He can't handle it. Flip us.
Good?
It's okay right now.
All right, well, maybe we should keep it this way, because maybe that's the reason.
That I'm supposed to be on the right? I'm always on the left.
No, what I'm saying is that maybe the audio will stay put if you just stay where you are.
Well, okay, fine, guys, but just know that I'm meant to be on the left. But no, these echoes, I caught it. Judge Knapp has been having them, and so has, I think, Baron Coleman's been having them.
Well, Saul Good is, don't breathe.
Exactly. Everybody hold your breath. This reminds me of when I was little, guys, the Gen X people, we actually had antennas like rabbit ears, and they would be wrapped in tin foil, and you would have to go hold it a certain way. And like my dad would be watching a game, and you'd have to like stand still a certain way to just get it so that it was great. That's what this kind of reminds me of now.
Here's what Netanyahu had to say. Ben, can you blow that up? Because I don't know if that's, again, I can't read the subtitles from that distance. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that, or if that's just the way it works on your laptop.
Why don't we just, what, honestly, we're better off reading it, then people will probably be able to understand what he's saying from that.
Well, yeah, but it goes piece by piece. But Netanyahu openly rejects the ceasefire agreement announced by Trump and says there will never be a Palestinian state. This is what we keep on emphasizing to people, that has to be driven home to anyone who thinks that there is any way for Israel to ever survive, much less be within the clutches of our country ever again, or vice versa.
Let me ask this. To which ceasefire is he referring?
Yeah, really.
No, I'm serious. What is is he referring to? The Iranian 6 demands? Because what is he talking about to a Palestinian state?
He's actually referring specifically to the ceasefire agreement that he was supposed to have, that Trump was supposed to have with Hamas.
Okay, that was never real. They've killed like more than 1,000. So according to my math, you've got to be at least 10 times that, right? Since the ceasefire. Yeah. Also, I reject the term ceasefire when it is only one side that has the fire. Then it's just a Holocaust.
Ben, can you blow this up or not? You have to, when I ask you a question, you got to acknowledge. If you can't do it, it's fine, but you got to okay, you put it in the private chat. Give me a sec. Unfortunately, I can't resize. I can only do that with the websites that I'm sharing. Okay.
Exactly. It's never ceased. There has not been a ceasefire ever. And there also has not been a war, right, guys? This isn't a war.
No, definitely not. But let me try to read this. Okay. So he is saying, as long as I am prime minister, a Palestinian state will never be established. That's not all the bullshit that he spews, but that's pretty much the most important part.
לא בעזה ולא ביו"ש. לא פתחסטן ולא חמאסטן. ובהקשר לדברים ספציפיים שעולים בחדשות לאחרונה, אני רוצה לדייק כאן. ישראל שוללת את מסמך 15.
He wants to be clear that Israel does not accept the 15-point ceasefire agreement. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. There is no ceasefire agreement. There is nothing that this psychopath would ever agree to, because if he did, he's a dead man. If you haven't come to terms with that reality yet, the only reason why this is even a conversation is because Netanyahu, Gavir, Smotrich, hopefully Daniela Weiss, among other people, they're all going to be murdered. They're going to be hung in the town square, because eventually... Yeah, there's only one of two ways this is going to go. Either the people that are in Israel who understand that once the bombs start raining down on them, they're going to not be able to get out of there, and they're going to come for them. Now, unfortunately, somebody like Netanyahu probably has an escape plan to Argentina. A few of them also, yeah, he is the butcher of Gaza.
I know it's hard. We gotta get through this, Peter. We gotta get through it.
All right.
שמעתי שאומרים, לא אמרתם, אמרנו, אבל אני אומר עוד פעם, ישראל שוללת את מסמך. צה"ל לא יבצע נסיגה כלשהי עד פירוק החמאס מנשקו. וכשאני אומר פירוק החמאס מנשקו, זה אומר הנשק הכבד, הנשק הפחות כבד, והנשק הקל, כל הנשק, ואנחנו מדברים על פירוק אמיתי, לא פירוק פיקטיבי. עכשיו אנחנו מדברים עם האמריקנים על הנושא. יש להם רעיונות, חלק מהם מקובלים עלינו, וחלק לא מקובלים עלינו. ואנחנו יודעים לעמוד מול הדברים האלה, הוכחנו את זה בעבר, אנחנו הוכחים את זה גם היום. בנוסף, צה"ל ימשיך לסכל את האיומים נגד כוחותינו.
Yeah, this is silly. We don't need to listen to this, Peter. It's silly. It's not a good sound, and nobody understands what he's saying. And the gist of it is that he says we're having a Palestinian state.
I'm trying to read it out, but basically what he's saying is that they're going to do whatever they're going to do, and no one is going to have anything to say about it. Like, Israel is untouchable. We're going to do what we have to do to defend ourselves. Blah 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 blah.
You know what he's been saying all along. By the way, your hair looks purple again. Like really purple. You really you're looking like it really looks purple.
You fucking
yeah,
people.
We were talking about this, Warren. The echo is a problem. And if you'll notice the channels that are having the problem,
like that color?
Still purple. If you notice the channels that are having the problem, they're all channels that are speaking truth to power. It's none of the milk toast. Let me know if you've heard somebody that is a party, tower of the line channel that is having echoes. But the people that I've heard having echoes are people that are speaking truth to power.
Yes, that is a fact. And we understand, at least I think we do. And we'll talk about this with Mia and Mo, because it's definitely something that I know is on their mind. Jen and I talked about this earlier. You have people that are gonna. There's actually something good. There is a silver lining to AOC running for president. I look like Bowie.
Well, it's the purple hair, I think, is sort of making it. But Peter doesn't really have purple hair. Wait, I feel like we didn't completely finish discussing whatever that was with Netanyahu. It's kind of weird and random that we're talking about it now when it seems like that's the same thing he's been saying the whole time, right? Like nothing is new. He has been saying. All of them have been saying there will not ever be a Palestinian state since, forever. Since, I don't know, 1947-ish, officially, I guess. But yeah. So I don't know how that's new.
No, there is a level of disconnect. And I will tell you that I read a Facebook message from somebody who who was up there in the Democratic Party, in South Florida.
Hmm.
And basically, you know what? Why the fuck not? I'm just going to read it. I want
Can
people to
you at least
understand.
can you at least tell me who it is without saying who it is?
Committee man?
Who?
Committee man?
Oh. You mean her committee man?
Well, was, not anymore.
Okay. Oh, I know who you're talking about.
So I want people to understand what the privileged liberal mindset is when it comes to defending a complete psychopathic Zionist like Wasserman Schultz. Try not to lose your lunch, but here we go. I have given considerable thought to the race for Congress in District 20, and I want to share why I have cast my vote for Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
I can't believe you're surprised, and I can't believe you didn't tell me about him with that.
Let me start off by saying there was never a scenario in which he was not going to vote for her.
And can we please give people the general demographic of whom you speak? Because I do think that that's very particularly relevant, socioeconomically and otherwise.
Let's just say that this person is of a certain age. Listen, I like the guy personally.
He's a nice guy, but you know what? He is a well-off white gay man. He is a well-off white gay man.
Very
and
well
older and just very comfortable.
Very much so.
That's what we're talking about here.
This is what you would call a text. If there is a non-Jewish textbook Wasserman Schultz voter, this is it. This is the one.
It's true.
First, I want to acknowledge something that I believe is extremely important. So here comes the shit livery in full force.
Okay, guys, we're talking about somebody that Peter knows that has been traditionally high up in the Democratic Party in Florida, but we're not going to say names because the truth is he's a nice guy and Peter and him have a long-term relationship. But we're just saying this is indicative of what we're dealing with in Florida.
If you want to know why Wasserman Schultz is in office, this is one of the reasons why. I understand and respect the concern within the African-American community. Actually, it's African-American, it's Caribbean-American, and it's Black. It's a lot of things, but they're all the same. Anyway, about preserving Black representation in this district. For nearly 3 decades, District 20 was represented by the late AOC Hastings and later Sheila Sherfulis McCormick. That history matters. The importance of African-American representation matters. I would never dismiss or minimize those concerns. I also have respect for the other Democrats who have stepped forward to run. My endorsement of Debbie is not an attack on any of them, nor is it a judgment about their commitment to our community. The reality is that Republican redistricting created a very different District 20 and put Democrats in a difficult situation that none of these candidates created. Let me start off by saying that District 20, which Sheila Sherfulis McCormick has represented for the past 5 years, it is basically 85%, 80 to 85% of the original district lines. Their district didn't change. Debbie's district, which was already starting to lean red because people have gotten so sick of her, finally became a slightly red district by about a +3, +4. So this was what you would consider a swing district, not a super red +20R district, but a relatively leaning red district. But this is a swing year. This is a blue year. And this is an incumbent seat that she's had for over 20 years against a no-name candidate running on the GOP line. You know what that tells me? You got $2.5 million, $3 million to run for a congressional seat. If you can't protect that seat, you don't deserve to be in Congress. You're so fucking useless. But that's a whole other story.
Didn't you tell me that Sam Husseini was coming on the show?
He's going to come on eventually. Rachel's dealing with him.
Okay. That's exciting for me. He's badassery.
So for me, the question becomes very practical. Who can do the most for the people in the district in Congress right here? Here we go.
So in other words, the white woman who's never lived in the district, who doesn't look like the majority of people in the district, somehow is going to be capable to do the most for the district when, by the way, she hasn't done shit for that same demographic that exists in her current district.
No, she's hurt them terribly. Terribly.
If she hasn't helped those those demographics, if she hasn't helped that community in the district she's been in, why would now she help them in a district that's majority of that group? Like, I don't.
So
really?
this is where Wasserman Schultz's experience becomes so important. Yeah. Debbie has served in Congress for more than 2 decades. See, now you're already showing your whole ass that you don't care that she's a lifer. You don't care that this is a person. You see, the thing that...
No, they like that. It's experience. Yes, it's her experience being a filthy corporate whore.
Yes.
That's her experience.
But what you have to remember is that for them, they don't care about the negatives. They don't want to talk about the negatives. They don't even want to think that they exist. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the reason the Democratic Party is dead in Florida and dead in a lot of places all throughout the country. As much as any one person in the Democratic Party who is responsible for the predicament the party is in today, she is the one at the head of the fucking class. And there is no disputing this point.
It's not unheard of for people to be threatened, bribed, extorted.
Yes.
And otherwise bullied to make statements like this. And this person might not be any exception to that rule.
That's probably true. Debbie,
so I guarantee you there was a phone call.
Might have been. Let me run through it. During that time, she has built seniority, relationships, and influence that simply cannot be transferred to a newly elected member. Sheila McCormick has been in Congress for over 3 terms. But that's neither here nor there. She serves on the powerful House Appropriations Committee. In other words, she gets to decide how money is spent.
Wait a minute. Okay, that's not, all right. Anyhow.
I'm just saying. Where Congress makes critical decisions about federal spending, yeah. Have you noticed who's at the head of the class when it comes to spending money on Israel and anything that is not working class related that is much needed? Just saying. That matters tremendously to District 20. Our communities need federal resources for affordable housing. What a freaking hoot. Education, healthcare, transportation, veterans. Yeah, sure. Environmental protection. That's even funnier. Infrastructure. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Infrastructure.
By the way, did you say anything to him? Did you respond?
No.
Did you reach out personally?
No. I might see him in person. We'll see. Community programs and economic opportunity. Having someone at the table with Debbie, people don't like Debbie, in case you haven't noticed.
No.
And experience, given that district an opportunity to fight for those resources from day one. A new member of, again, it's like you want to pretend that Sheila Sherfless McCormick is not running for this seat. That's the other thing. They're all doing this as
well, and it's interesting because that's also, we've said the reason that Elijah Manley has gotten the amount of publicity and the amount of stuff is because it's basically under the direction of Debbie's, like these people in that race benefit Debbie. Yes, that's how it works.
Absolutely. That is the large, Debbie has spent more than 20 years building them. Yeah, sure she has. That is the larger consideration that ultimately determined my vote. This is not about diminishing the importance of Black representation. Yes, it is. It is not about attacking another Democrat. You didn't acknowledge Sheila McCormick's experience, so that's attacking her. And it certainly isn't about suggesting that the other candidates don't care deeply about this district. It's about looking at the district we have today, looking at again, if you look at that district, you would realize that Debbie is way past her expiration date and that she should not be in Congress anymore, but that's a whole other story. It is about the district we have today, looking at its tremendous needs and deciding who I believe has the strongest position to deliver for all the people who live there. I already cast my vote, and I asked my friends in the district to consider the reasoning that I have shared here. I respect those who reach a different conclusion, but after giving the considerable thought, I believe her experience, seniority, and ability to deliver what exactly? As the strongest person to represent District 20. That is why I'm emphasizing for the 3rd time here in this post. I voted for Wasserman Schultz. I proudly endorse her and ask you to vote for her as well. One of the photographs that is posted here includes a photo of her, him, and Jim Clyburn. So there you go.
You
And
act
that
like
pretty much
somehow,
sums
it's
it
like, I know do you somehow feel disappointed?
No, I'm just tired
Okay.
of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing the excuses. I'm tired of people pretending that the only reason that you are not supporting Wasserman Schultz, or that the only reason you're not supporting somebody else in the race, is because this is a class issue.
Oh,
The Black community is expected to keep their mouth shut and do as they're told when push comes to shove in situations like this. It doesn't matter if she's carpetbagging in that area. It matters that Wasserman Schultz is the biggest corporate-backed representative in the state of Florida outside of Rick Scott. And so as a result, she is going to get the red carpet treatment until she either is voted out or she dies.
So Kenman, one of the things, and we've talked about it, is they put these sort of nice ghost candidates, people, they're not ghosts, but what do you call them? Filler candidates?
Well, no, I mean, you could
Like
call them.
she promotes other
Yeah.
candidates in the race to split the vote amongst the Black community. That's the strategy.
And the other thing that you also have to remember is that when the numbers come out.
Wait, can I at least finish talking?
I apologize. Go ahead.
The only reason that some of the candidates in that race are getting the amount of publicity that they're getting is because people, like, she technically wants them to.
Yes.
That helps her.
Mhm.
That helps her. So when she wins this and you look and be like, well, those candidates, yeah, that's why they were there for her.
Yeah. But this is, and this is why it's perfect timing to have Mo and Mia come on, because at the end of the day, once you understand how this game is played, you can't unsee it. There is no going back to it. There is no pretending that this can be salvaged. It is what it is. It takes a lot of courage, because it does. I've gone through my own shit. Mia obviously has been through hell. I'm sure Mo has as well. And it's not that we don't want to give, it's not that we want to put this pressure on people that are not comfortable with stepping outside their comfort zone, but we have to keep reminding them that at some point you will have no choice, because you're going to get pushed over the edge whether you like it or not. The only way to not get pushed over the edge is to fight back. That's the only chance you have. And that is why we are very pleased, for the very first time, to welcome Mo Hamza to Revolutionary Change.
Hi. Can you hear us?
Good, Mo?
Hey guys, yeah, sorry, it was a slight delay. It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, sorry, it
for having
was
me.
a slight delay. It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Absolutely. We really appreciate the work that you're doing. And of course, this wouldn't be possible without friend of the show for the second time, and definitely not the last, Mia Marie. Welcome back to Revolutionary Change.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
What's up, Mo?
How are you?
It's so nice to meet you. Mo, I have been a fan for it's 3 years. And even though the circumstances of the 3 years is what it is so good to meet you. And I've been following you, and big fan. So I'm very glad that you're here. And
I appreciate you, Ben. Thank you.
And Mia, I think we should start with talking about what happened to you. Like, I think we should start with like the recent experience, what you just went through.
Yeah, on the flotilla, a lot of people want to talk about, the horrible stuff with the Israelis and everything. But one of the main things that I really took away from this was the solidarity in so many communities around the world. And we just don't have that here in the United States. I was having an anxiety actually coming home, because I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to fight with my own people and explain myself. And, being around a group of people and everybody understands the severity, how serious the situation is, how much it's going to impact our children and the environment without having to argue with somebody. Oh my gosh, just the relief the relief of just being around people like that, it was like night and day. And I didn't realize like how toxic the United States was until I was in that situation with people who are just like, yeah, let's go. You know, we're all in agreement. We're all willing to risk our lives, and there was no questions asked. You know, it was just like, it's my life, your life. You know, we're in this together. But when it came down to the actual like violence portion of it, I would say I'm very grateful for that experience because anti-Semitism works. I didn't know shit before October 7th. I was brand new to this whole thing. I'm the greenest person out of everybody in this room. So when people would say, oh, well, you've never been to Israel, you don't know this and that, I've done my research. Like, I know that I was right based on all of the reports that I read, the Save the Children reports, Amnesty International. I know Israel is a terrorist state and an evil occupier, and that they have implemented Jim Crow laws there, and they have put children in military detention centers, but there's always that tiny little piece that works, you know, that little guilt. And so finally, when I got there and I had to experience, you know, with my own mind, body, and soul, and seen it with my own two eyes, the sadism and the violence and them enjoying it, you know, I've seen them enjoy it. They really liked, you know, like punching us and shooting rubber bullets at us and shining lasers in our eyes. It was that enjoyment that they got off it, that really showed me that, you know, everything that I'm doing was correct, and it was very validating experience for me, and I'm ready to go back. I think the hardest part of that trip was getting deported, because I was there, like I was in the prison bus and I was looking out this tiny little window and I could see the rocks going by, and I was like, I'm in Palestine, I'm here. And then it's just ripped out from underneath you when you get deported.
So for people asking, Mia was on the flotilla. That's what we're talking about. I feel like Peter doesn't necessarily always give the best context and introduction. He's just so excited. He just gets people on here. It's like, and he knows who people are, and we know who people are, but not everybody knows who people are.
Yeah, so I was on the Kasri Sadabot. So there were 3 days of interception. There was the first day in Greece, and I was actually in Turkey at that time. And so I got stuck in Turkey because of that first very early interception. The second interception was after we took off from Turkey. And so I was the third day of interception. The Israelis had came out and said, oh, we're going to, you know, wait till the second day to capture the Turkish ships because we consider them highly aggressive and we're not going to provide any medical assistance. And I was like, oh, fuck, I know what that means. And apparently there was more than one prison ship that they had now for us. And one of the prison ships, the Nishan, it's actually US made. We found out that, you know, our United States had created that. And so when they had taken us from the ships, we were actually sent to a warship first and then transferred to the prison ship. And on the warship is when it got really spicy. At our boat, when they initially were docking, you know, they were shooting bullets at us. I think they were rubber bullets. They were breaking glass, and they were like, if you don't turn off the engine and tell us you're captain, like we're going to escalate. And I thought for sure they were going to shoot us. They got on board. They pulled a couple of my shipmates to the side, and they stripped my men down in front of us. And then when they transferred us to the Navy warship, the Navy warships have like this spiky material on the deck. And so we were zip tied, blindfolded, and I was zip tied to a bar on the floor on my knees on that spiky material. I think it's called like anti-skid material. So like I have scabs like on my elbows and on my knees from being in those stress positions for so long. And then, you know, on top of rocks, on top of that spiky material, they would periodically come by and step on my fingers. They were really upset that they were obsessed with my medical history. They were like, we need to know if you need any medications and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't need anything. And I'm not telling you anything unless you hurt me. And they're like, oh, we're not going to hurt you. And so then when they transferred us to the prison ship, each one of us have to go through a container, and that container one by one. And actually, I heard that they put people in pairs too. And I have a story of a couple of people from my ship. But one by one or in pairs, we were taken into that beating container. They closed the doors on us. And there was 3 people in there. The first person was the one who beat me just right across my face. Pop, pop, pop. And I was passing out, so he had to hold me up by my hair so I didn't fall down to just keep wailing on me. And then he tossed me to the 2 men in the back. And I think because I was so out of it and I didn't fight back, that's why it was so quick for me. And then they push you out to the courtyard on the prison ship. I was there the second day. The day before, they had flooded the ship, so people, all their clothes were wet. They were cold. And they were kept up all night. They would bang on the containers. They would shine lasers in their eyes. They would do things just to kind of torment you. They were shooting rubber bullets from this walkway that they had like right above it. 2 people from my boat, one of the women told me the story, her and a male, they were taken in together. And she told me that they beat her in front of him and just so he had to watch. And they got her really nasty. They were tasering her all over her stomach and her shoulders. And they just made him watch. And she told me that he came up to her later and he was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm sorry, I was gonna make it worse. So that was the kind of torture that they enjoyed, that they liked to see. And they would do it so that way we would kind of get pinned up against each other. In a way, I guess, mad at each other, torturing each other. But inside the prison boat, you know, we were in Turkey, like, you know, we're taught in very Muslim countries, like, you don't shake hands. I'm used to shaking hands, but I was taught, don't shake hands. It's like this. After the beating in the prison ship, there's every hugs, let me check your wounds, let me see, like, are you bleeding? The men were taking off their shirts and giving it to the women because it was cold as hell at night. We were cuddled up like Kansas sardines, like in these containers. If you ever seen like those images of human trafficking, like in those containers where people are just like lining up, that's what we look like in those containers. The people had kind of organized in the prison ship. So they made one container just for medical when people had injuries, broken bones. And so the people who were also part of our crew that were medical staff kind of took over. Like they were automatically in work mode, even though they had just gotten beaten, they had injuries themselves, but they were like, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I need to take care of other people. There was a welcoming committee outside of the beating container to kind of take somebody, get them out of the middle of the courtyard, because if you stand in the middle of the courtyard, they were going to shoot rubber bullets at you. So they needed to get you to safety immediately. So so they made sure that you were okay. They checked your wounds. They took you to the medical staff to see if you needed to get evaluated. The president of Ireland's sister, Margaret, was on there, and I got to meet her and see her in action. She's an incredible, incredible human being. Oh my God. My God, the bravery of this woman. Like, she stood up and she like was yelling at the Israeli soldiers. She was like, we need water. We have injuries. We need clothes. People are cold. And I was kind of there with head trauma, and I remember looking at her and I was like, Margaret, don't do it. They're going to kill you. They're going to shoot you. And because there was the soldiers like pointing rifles at her. And I thought for sure that they were going to shoot her. And this is what the Samud is. This is what I'm talking about, like the unity from the people from the flotilla. One by one, about 15 people got up and they just started surrounding her, just as she's pleading with the Israelis for just to bring some water out for the injured people. It was an incredible thing to see, and I felt like such a pussy for just sitting there. But I had just gotten beaten, and I could barely stand up. Like, my vision was super blurry, but it was. There was just so many beautiful things about that experience, and now I understand why Palestinians like they won't give up. You know, there's a bravery, there's a camaraderie, there's that love for your land and for your people that is just so unbreakable, and I'm so glad I got to experience that. After the prison ship, they took us to the immigration center, and that's where the Ben Gvir video happened. I didn't personally see Ben Gvir. On the prison boats, they numbered you. So you had a wristband, and mine was at the very end. You were numbered based on like how when you got into the ship chronologically. And I was kind of like the last row. So if you saw on the boat when we're like zip tied and arms down, like outside, I was in that scene. So I was at the very back and I was listening to the Israeli national anthem that played over 70 times. And they would take row by row people up to the immigration. And randomly, I remember like while listening to that national anthem, and I don't know why they picked this version. It was like this sad woman singing. It sounded like a funeral song. I had no idea it was the national anthem. I was
Yeah,
like,
I would just say that's Hatikva, and it is always depressing. It's never not a depressing version.
it
It's
was.
just depressing. I'm
I
just
was like, oh, they're playing funeral music for us. That's great.
No.
And then I found out it was the national anthem. I was like, what the fuck? That's the
Yeah.
saddest national anthem I've ever heard. But as I'm sitting there listening, I could randomly hear screaming, and so I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? What are they doing? And then I later learned that when you walked out, there was a couple of tents that you walk through, and a few of those tents, people would randomly get chosen and they would get beaten in those tents. There was one person who was stuck in Turkey. They wouldn't let him get on a plane. They were like, that's not recommended. So the Israeli soldier had told him to look at him. And so the soldier was taller than him. So he looked up and the soldier cupped his hands and hit his ears and just popped his eardrum. So he had to get like some material in there to kind of, I don't know what, to kind of solidify in there. So that way it wasn't like open or something like that. But those were the types of things that were happening inside the tents. I do know that there was also sexual assaults and a few people got stabbed with needles. They don't know. They said that there wasn't really any side effects, but they don't know what they were injected with. They have no idea. And sorry, back to the prison boat when we're getting beaten. The worst part about that is not your own beating, at least for me, it wasn't. It was having to listen to everybody subsequently getting beaten after that. Because it was the sound of that banging metal material that echoed and crying, and you don't know who's in there. And so when I got out, I'm looking for my shipmates immediately. I find one, this very elderly, like Turkish man who was on my first ship that I was on. And there was none of this. It was all hugs. And, I just stayed by his side like the rest of the night. It's like a father figure to me because that's how it ended up. But then when we were in the immigration center, it was kind of like a giant DMV, essentially. The tents were outside. And when we were in those stress positions, it was like dirt and rocks. And you could see everybody's injuries at that point. The man in front of me, I noticed when I glanced up, because you had to hold your hands like this, you were zip tied this way, and his hands were all bloody. And I noticed that it was frank blood. It was still like, it wasn't dry. It was still bright. And I was like, oh shit, that has to be fresh. And then I saw that it was dripping from his nose. So he had gotten beaten so badly in the face that I couldn't see his face, but I could see the blood dripping on his hands. The man next to me, who actually reached out to me on Instagram, and it was very sweet. He was like, can you pull my shirt down? And I reached over to pull his shirt down, and I just saw, lashes, gashes, all over the sides of his arm. His arm, he kept moving. His arm was uncomfortable. And at that time I had my passport because we were going to give it to the actual prison after they had done our immigration stuff. And I shoved it underneath his elbow because I saw his elbow was all bloody. I later learned that his arm was broken. But he's doing better now. So those were the kinds of things. And then my Turkish captain is also next to me inside the tents when we got moved. And I bring all these clothes that I assume that I'm not going to ever wear again. So they, don't fit me very well. So I'm wearing these really loose pants, and, my tanga is hanging out because my pants are so loose. I'm not prepared for these stress positions. And so my Turkish captain is reaching over and pulling my pants up and my shirt down so that way these soldiers can stop taking pictures and filming me. It was just so much love between everybody there. after we got through this kind of DMV checkpoint, I did get to speak to the lawyer from the Adala legal team, which is the Israeli lawyers. And they were very nice. I told them I try to speak as fast as I can. Like there were this many broken bones and sexual assaults and blah, blah, blah. And then they shackled us and then they took us to the prison. At that time, also, I guess this might be a little too much information, but I'm going to say it anyway. It was that time of the month for me. And I had asked for some feminine material and they were like, they really like to yell at you. And they were very obsessed with the fact that I was from the United States. They were like, what are you doing here? You know, you shouldn't be here. Like they have ownership of me and, you know, I'm supposed to be doing what they say. They were really offended by my presence there. And they were like, well, you should have thought of that before you came here. So they gave us prison sweats. And so I had to rip off the sleeve from my sweat and kind of just jerry-rig, you know, just to make sure that like I was okay. But that's what, you know, we had to do. They kept us up pretty much all night, like every hour, taking us out, cuffing us and dragging us. They would race us around like the prison just for no fucking reason. No reason. They would go and they would ask us stupid questions and they would take us back. We started making jokes inside the prison cell. We're like, okay, ladies, it's time for our exercises. And there was one point where like they would rush you and race you so much. And one officer slammed my head into like a rail. And I remember I could hear everybody else laughing, like, but I couldn't see because they make you like, you can't sit up a little bit to get enough view of like what's in front of you. They, you know, your head has to be like down to your knees as you're running. It's nearly impossible. You can't see anything. And then the next day, that's when I guess the Ben Gvir video had came out and we were deported at that point the next morning. I thought I was going to get redetained when we got to, I think it's Eilat, that airport. This guy was just, I don't know, he was just pissing us off. They were all taking pictures of us trying to humiliate us as we were getting to the airport. So everybody on my bus was like, no, let's not let them humiliate us. So, you know, we were like putting up peace signs, putting up fists. And this Israeli guard came up and he was like, put your hand down, put your hand down. Like kept yelling at me. And then when we almost got to the planes, this one officer, he was yelling at me and this other woman, and he starts shoving her. And I get involved, and I was like, "Don't you fucking touch her!" And like, so we get into the shoving match, and the Turkish airplanes are right there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back to prison, like, you know, right away. But we got on the plane, and the flight home, you know, everybody was like, there was a lot of like solidarity and people were happy to see each other and all that. But as soon as I got to my seat, that was, I couldn't, I was not okay. I didn't want to leave. Like I explained, I was like, I'm so close. Fuck. Like, and everything's just getting like ripped away from me. But yeah, it was a very validating experience, and I'm very happy that I went, and I am definitely looking forward to the next time going, because I don't know, I don't feel done. It wasn't enough. I don't know how to explain it.
You're a hero to a lot of people, and this is something where when you said I feel like a pussy, don't ever feel like that. The courage it takes to get on that plane, to get on that boat, is something that a very, very small percentage of the human population is capable of doing it. And knowing that it could have been a death sentence, that's like I said, that's not something that really is easy to process. This is why we do what we do. There are times where I'm sure Mo feels the same way. It's like we can never do enough. There's never enough work that we could do to try to serve humanity in the capacity that we would like to. We realize that our country is in the process of going through a revolution. It's happening. It's not happening fast enough, but it is happening. And what I ultimately see is the end game here, especially because of the connection with Iran, is that Israel is going to cease to exist. Something catastrophic is going to happen to them, because what's ultimately coming to pass now, in lieu of everything that's going on with the Strait of Hormuz, is that it is an economic choke point to our country. And what Iran is effectively telling the United States, telling Trump, is that you have a choice. You either what we say, or you can go to hell with Israel. Make a choice, because that's the only two you've got. And so that is ultimately what I think will force our hand. But it is incumbent upon us to never forgive or forget anyone that has been on board with this, or in many ways were too cowardly to ever say anything about it. And that's why, Mo, I want to try the thing that kind of brought this conversation together in the first place is because Jen sent me a clip of a video that you just put out the other day that, as you know, has been making the rounds. And this is in direct, this is in a direct repudiation of Abdul El-Sayed and the fact that he, within 5 minutes, like a lot of these other people, they get their endorsement from the bigwigs. And now all of a sudden, everything that they fought for, they're willing to throw it out the window. Here it is.
All the way fucked up now. You've got me here recording this shit while I'm on a trip with my family because there's no way in hell I'm staying silent about this shit. Abdul El-Sayed, although I've called you out on questionable things you've said in the past, I ultimately gave you the benefit of the doubt and pushed for you over that sloth-faced 8-pack puppet. And we even celebrate your win in the hopes that this is a means to break away from the status quo so that we could help you tighten your messaging from now on so as to not fall into the Western narrative trap that has down for decades, such as never condemning a resistance group fighting for their literal freedom and to never say Israel has a right to exist. But what the actual fuck is this? It's one thing for to endorse you for her own political gain, which is precisely what she's doing here. But it's another thing to excitingly announce her endorsement on your platform. So grateful for her support in this race. What the fuck were you thinking? This is the same bitch that turned down a request from uncommitted movement delegates to feature a Palestinian American speaker on stage at the DNC. This is the same bitch that disrespected Gaza protesters by saying, "I'm speaking," in an attempt to shut them up from voicing their opposition to the genocide. And her Zionist commander-in-chief, Joe Genocide and Biden, were helping facilitate. This is the same bitch that defended Biden and his decisions and publicly justified Israel's Holocaust of the Palestinians with the same debunked bullshit Israeli talking points. This is the same bitch that is married to an ultra-Zionist Jew who has undying loyalty to Israel. This is the same bitch that takes millions in aid money. This is the same bitch that met and shook hands with a war criminal worse than Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. This bitch was vice president to a president that provided funds and weaponry to the worse than Nazi regime of Israel. This is the same bitch that until even after the day of the death of her presidential run could never admit that her stance and justification of genocide was one of the main contributors to her presidential loss. And this is now the same bitch that is now starting to notice that the world has woken up to this bullshit and is distancing themselves from Israel. In order to make another presidential run, is now reaching out to pro-Palestinian voices to mend bridges, inclusive of your normalizing ass, Abdul El-Sayed. I don't give a shit what any of you vote blue no matter who fucks, and all you ride or die Abdul El-Sayed fans have to say to me right now that I refuse to keep my mouth shut on this bullshit. And all your comments try to justify this normalizing move, saying shit like, people are missing the point. This endorsement is not for those of us who know the Biden administration failed Gaza. It's for the Democrats who are still disagree with party leadership. The fuck are you talking about right now? Anyone remotely affiliated with the Biden administration that continuously peddled lies and propaganda to continue to exacerbate the Holocaust of Gaza, but also continue to fund and provide weapons for said Holocaust, needs to be tried at The Hague for war crimes against humanity, included. So while we say Benjamin Netanyahu is worse than Hitler himself, we tend to forget Netanyahu and the state of Israel only exists due to the U.S. presidents and governments that fund them. And by that logic, Biden and Donald Trump are just as bad as Netanyahu himself. And considering Kamala was Biden's right-hand gal, you might as well have put Hitler's right-hand man, Heinrich Himmler, on that endorsement as well. So while you continue to normalize with one of the direct contributors to the genocide we are witnessing today, just know that from now on, I'm speaking.
Okay, let me just say I completely endorse the message, but if it was me, you would have to replace bitch with cunt. Y'all know. All right. Thank you. All right. Sorry, that's all I had to say.
That's hilarious. No, I appreciate that. No, I mean, I didn't know if you had a question to follow.
Well, you and I are on the same page with this.
Yeah.
I am done with these people. I think the election thing is just ridiculous at this point. And there is no middle ground with these people. And that is what is so frustrating. And you have gotten it all along. And that's what I meant. So I actually wanted to ask you, like, I know it's been so many years that I've been following, but everybody doesn't necessarily know you. How could they not? But I mean, there might be people that don't know who you are. Would you just give a little bit like your background and, you know, how active you've been and what you've been doing, because you've been doing some amazingly cool things in the resistance.
Yeah, so my name is Mu'ad Hamza in Arabic, but I go by Mo Hamza or Mo Hamz on social media, which was my original account that is now gone. I'm gone through 44 accounts, and on my 45th account that Meta has been taken down very quickly and religiously ever since I started speaking up. But yeah, I'm Palestini, Demi Palestini through and through. I'm 100% Palestinian. My father is from Ain Karim, which is outside of Quds, which is Jerusalem proper. And then my mom is from Tubas, which is a West Bank village. And honestly, I've always been, I grew up with all of this, like hearing the stories from my great grandparents and my ancestors, my father, my mother, and just although they were, displaced in the Nakba of 1948 with my grandparents as refugees to Jordan. So all I knew as a child was really Jordan. Every time I visited my family, it was always in Amman, Jordan. And I never got a chance to really see Palestine. And as a result, a lot of my family, that my aunts and uncles who are significantly older than me, have never been to Palestine either, and are not able to until this day go to Palestine. But I, fortunately, as an adult, was able to visit Palestine in September of 2023, 1 month prior to October 7th madness. So I feel like I tell everyone that it felt like kind of destiny that happened, that I was able to go at that time frame, bring my 1-year-old son at the time along with me. It was an out of body experience. When I say I experienced every single range of emotion, I am not saying that lightly. It's literally when I'm standing in front of my great grandparents' home, same exact structure architecturally as I seen in the photos, but now in Ain Karim, it's a fully occupied, settled land, and there's Israeli settlers in my great grandparents' home. We still have the key to the home, right? So, as we always say, and for the right of return, hopefully in the future. But in that moment, I felt so much anger, but I'm also like feeling like euphoria and happiness, and like that I'm actually like here in this land. And then there was like this weird, painful sense of guilt that I was there, and all of my elders have never seen it and will not ever be able to see it, right? And that was I carried that like guilt with me throughout the whole trip, and I had to like call one of my eldest aunts and uncles to like apologize almost and say like, I'm so sorry, I'm able to do this using my American passport, and you guys aren't able to come here and see what I'm seeing. I'll refrain from sending you guys too many things. And they stopped me and were like, no, send me everything. You are my eyes and ears now. And I like broke down when I heard that. And it was just like a beautiful thing to hear from them. And honestly, that I felt like I was there for them. So coming back, I've always been passionate, and I've always been talking about Palestine like before October 7th, obviously, considering this has happened for decades to us. But I felt a new sense of purpose coming from that trip. And when the October 7th happened, I knew I clicked into high gear. I knew what was coming. I knew exactly what the reaction was about to be. And that is when I started to mobilize all my people and my voice even to say, all right, that's it. I'm all in now. I'm going to go all in, full 10 toes down, chest out. And I don't care what you have to say to me or what you think of what I have to say. Right. So, and that comes with a lot of, it's a lot of risk because I'm an Arab, and it comes with that, prejudiced or, that angry Arab type talk. And he sounds like a terrorist or some bullshit, which, my dad at first, when he heard my first like full on rant of anger, which I really did purely because it was more cathartic for me. I couldn't take any more of it, and I couldn't really sit silent or see how we've been operating very politely in our past. And no knock to my ancestry and my elders who have done everything they have been able to do and to put me in this position to say what I have to say. But they did it in a very polite way and in a strategic way of like, let's navigate the system and go around the system, this and that. I couldn't take any more of that. And I was like, that's it. Why are we navigating to what they think is taboo? Their taboo is not my taboo. So I'm going to operate within their taboo because I don't think their taboo even exist to me, because I'm going to speak what I have to say, and if you don't like it, then that's that. So that's kind of what my approach to everything I've done is put my entire heart on my sleeve as an advocate for Palestine, as a Palestinian, but I wanted to be as loud and proud as humanly possible. But that anger wasn't just pure anger. I wanted to be rooted in facts and things that I know for a fact I can stand on two legs and fight and argue with full confidence, in a sense. So that is something that I think has garnered a lot of attention with a lot of the people that are outside of the realm of Palestinians and Arabs and Muslims, and which I think was the most fulfilling thing for me, is to hear people from all over the world saying, dude, every time you yell on screen, you're saying everything that my heart and my mind has wanted to say this whole time. So when I hear things like that, it validates my anger, it validates my fight for my people, and it really gives me more drive to be as authentic as I can be for my people, but also showing up in the best way possible. And that's essentially calling out the status quo that we've been living in. So like Peter, you mentioned that we're in end game. That is how I'm operating now. We're in end game mode. We have exposed Zionism for what it is at the extreme levels. Like, it is so out in the open that to the point where we're not even doing most of the work at this point. Every word that comes out of a Zionist mouth, every action that they do is really digging that grave deeper and deeper for themselves, right? So we are just letting them be them because we've opened that door for them, for the whole world to see what they are. And honestly, October 7th is what made that happen, right? So what I do now is call out the people that want to come, like now that they say ceasefire, I call out the people that default back into the pattern, right? If you go back to the status quo, we're not moving anywhere. We've already got them on the ledge. We need to kick them off that ledge now and not start moving backwards again, or else they're going to gain footing again. So I'm operating on an end game scenario where I'm going to keep pushing and calling out even our own, the people that call themselves pro-Palestinian and vouch for us, especially in the political sphere. I'm going to call you out if you start to backtrack and you start to say stuff that is backtracking all the work that we've done to get to where we are today. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Abdul El-Sayed. I'm not there to cancel him. I am not there even to retract any endorsement that I personally have ever had, because I swallowed my pride in certain moments for him, because he said some questionable things I've called out before this Kamala Harris stuff that I've publicly called out. I've tried to do it behind closed doors, and I did it publicly because I didn't hear from him. But the reality is, if you say something to the extent of equating Hamas to say they're just as evil as the
Right.
IOF, and I heard him say that on a CNN interview, I refuse to allow that to slide. No way in hell I'm going to let that slide. So we need to be able to call that out quickly, because I only say that not to make you look like shit. I say that so you can course correct. So if you're ever are on an interview again, you never say that again. And he hasn't said it since, honestly, since that call out. But now this is a different ball game. We've got someone who has endorsed you, right? Kamala Harris, who is an active contributor. She was a literal contributor in the exact administration that facilitated the hyper-sped genocide of my people, right? She was on camera, on podiums, defending every fucking thing that Biden said and did, and in every single waking moment, she would say the same exact talking points. Israel has a right to defend itself. Hamas this, October 7th that, even mentioned the debunked bullshit around 40 beheaded babies and rapes, right, and all of that, all of the debunked information. That is facilitating genocide. That is legitimate atrocity propaganda to exacerbate the genocide of my people, and you should be tried at The Hague because of it. So now you're in cahoots with Kamala Harris. Like I said in my videos, Kamala can endorse whoever the fuck she wants, right? In reality,
right? He can't do anything about who endorses him.
He can't do shit, right? So cool, let it hang. People, whatever people follow her, they heard her endorsement. Great. The second you, as a pro-Palestinian advocate, accept that endorsement and then publicly say that you're honored and humbled that she supports you, get the fuck out of here. There's no way I'm going to let you say that. And you detract everything we've ever worked for, everything you worked for on your little campaign trail. The reason why you won is because of our movement. Let's be very frank here. So, and because of you used us as a people as your, talking points. So there's no way in hell I'm going to let you do that. So when I jump on immediately to get on camera to say these types of things, it's not to bash him, it's to put him in check, because things like this hurt us and hurt our movement and hurt really a lot of Americans too, because you're going to keep the shit that's happening in America that literally has come onto our doorstep. We've been screaming from the rooftops, whatever you guys let them do to Palestinians, it's coming to America and all your other countries. And here we are today. It's already here. So if he's going to start to backtrack us in our movement, I'm not going to let that happen anymore. There's no way in hell. So I will call that out.
Yeah, no, and I agree 1,000%. And I don't think it's our job to keep them in line. Like that's the way it's supposed to be. And I find it like, as somebody who is sort of like, I would say your anti-Zionist Jewish counterpart in the, come October 8th, I was saying this is going to end with 2 million dead bodies in a desert if we're not really focused on this. I feel very enraged as well for a completely different reason. And I don't know if I was raised Zionist and all this stuff, and my family was lied to and grifted and all this stuff by that movement as Jews post-Holocaust, right? So I have the same, I feel this generational rage from this whole other perspective that it's just and long before October 7th, I knew this stuff. So then being able to sort of cross-pollinate with the people that are enraged on the other side of it has felt very powerful. That's what's been really cool, I think, about this.
Yeah, I want to actually mention this specifically. So I love the fact, honestly, you guys are some of the most powerful in the movement technically, is the anti-Zionist Jews that have walked through that door that I call the one-way door, or the door that shuts and never is opened again. Because you've lived it, you've learned it, and then you broke free of it, which is very difficult to do. I know that because it's been so ingrained in you since childhood, obviously, as we are seeing today. So breaking free of that, I commend any Jewish person that has truly broken free and is fighting on behalf of the Palestinians tooth and nail, and actually are using the same talking points that we are fighting, and actually saying the resistance is necessary when you are an occupied people. That is point blank, period. That is it. It is what it is. When you say that as a Jewish person, you're A-okay with me. And the thing is, on my end is I've actually been lucky enough to befriend someone that was actually ultra Zionist. I had not befriended him at the time. He was just a Zionist, saw all my content and started to click into this weird limbo land, and asked me direct questions, very thought-provoking questions as to what my stance is on these certain things. I broke it down for him in the most respectful way, because I could easily snap into my anger mode and go off on him. But I actually broke it down by facts. I am a very fact-based person. I will make sure I give you as many, because I operate on receipts. Everyone knows this about me. So I basically broke it down for him day after day after day after day. This was months of just speaking to this guy on Instagram. He went from fully Zionist to the most outspoken anti-Zionist Jew within months, and thanks me to this day in the longest letters of just professing his love for all that I've taught him personally. I'm just one person, right? And that I've flipped his perspective. So to hear that it's actually this type of thing is working across the board, and obviously it helps. And I hate to say it because it's off the back and blood of my people that we're seeing in live stream. It helps that now people are seeing it. It's not just me telling you, or me telling you to read about it, or doing this. You do your research, but look at what's truly happening right now. That is what Palestinians have been going through for decades, but it's now just hypersped in a scary, absolutely horrific way.
I think the work you've done is exceptional as well. I would also say that you've got the Jersey attitude like I do. And as we talked briefly offline, I grew up in the hell of it all, so to speak. I think a lot of people are just afraid of change. I think a lot of it is class-based. We talk about that constantly on this channel, is that so much of the reason why Israelis and just Zionist culture in general is so embedded in the United States and around the world isn't because these are endearing people, as Mia saw and experienced firsthand in the worst ways possible. these are not nice people. These are, in fact, very nasty, entitled, brutish, self-centered, disgusting people.
Yeah, I wanted to actually, a perfect example of what you just said is a headline I just highlighted a couple days ago. They just announced that they're revoking visas of Jews that are going to occupy Palestine to fight and protect the Palestinians. So if you're a decent Jew, as we call it, if you're an actually decent human being and happen to be a Jew, they're not allowed to go to the self-proclaimed Jewish state, right? Because you're trying to protect Palestinians from the absurdly violent settlers that are on an extreme level of violence right now, that are just not just emboldened, they're provided the weaponry from the Israeli government and protected by the IOF to enact all of this violence on Palestinians just trying to live in their homes. And we're seeing it day after day, the most gruesome, disgusting. Like today I saw settlers going to a water truck and just opening up the water truck to let it leak all out and like empty the entire water truck just for shits and giggles because they don't want the town to have water. So like this is a type of demonic evil we're dealing with. And now they're barring Jewish people from going to occupy Palestine to protect Palestinians. So what they're basically trying to say is the only Jews that they will allow, or Jews, let's air quote it, that they will allow into Palestine, or whatever they're going to call it, are the absolutely demonic evil ones that will stand, to fight the Palestinians and terrorize them and burn their homes and kill their livestock and burn their olive trees. That is who they want there, and that's as brazen and open of an admission to their demonic evil out in public. So this is the type of stuff they're so emboldened, and I want to make this very clear. All of the impunity that we're seeing in our Western world, that everyone is so emboldened to do and say whatever the hell they want, all of these Epstein class pieces of shit in positions of power doing their pedophilia and getting away with it and saying whatever the hell they want to say and getting away with it, because that we've exposed that there's a level of impunity in this world that now has checked international law. There's no international law to me anymore. It's a myth to me. All of this is a myth. Yep. It was all created for the global South to control all of the already oppressed people. And we know this and we see it in broad daylight. The UN, the ICC, the ICJ mean jack shit to me. It is all lip service now. So that is what we are seeing now with our own eyes. And now it's becoming a revolution style situation. It is a revolution situation, which I'm glad I'm on the Revolution podcast. But
can we go back to what you're saying? So are you saying that my birthright has been revoked?
That's what. No, literally, if you protect Palestinians,
my birthright has been
anymore. Exactly. Yeah, that's how ridiculous it sounds.
Well, actually, what's funny is the trip you went on was actually like birthright.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it wasn't necessarily a program, but that's what that is. It's interesting.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't even have the audacity to call anything like that a birthright because we know what we are, and that should be like trigger number one for the whole world. Like, who the hell has a very structured program and trip that pays you to go and have this fun on your birthright trip? I mean, who is a government that has a propaganda wing that is meant for specifically putting out fake news and propaganda and AI imagery and videos? Israel. All of this. Who pays $7,000 for influencers to post? Israel. Like, this is all. And who's literally currently? They just put out a statement that they are influencing AI answers to be pro-Israel responses. Like, they're trying to infiltrate every single aspect of our lives so that they can literally force feed the narrative that they've already lost. They've lost the narrative. There's no turning back. It's just making them look worse and worse and worse. So we let them be them, let them do them. At this point, like, we should just we can't put the pedal, like, we can't hit the brakes anymore, and we can't like slow down. Let them be them, but we got to push forward harder and harder and harder than ever, because that's the only way the existence of the global end.
I want to say to both of you, when you see right now what's happening in Michigan, obviously a lot of the focus is on Saeed's election, but don't forget, you've got this state senator who's now the Democratic nominee in District 11, which is an area Jen and I are very familiar with, which is the Zionist haven of the state of Michigan, which is Farmington Hills and Bloomfield. So this guy, Jeremy Moss, has come out and basically said that we are Israel's bitch and we should just accept it. And then, in addition, we are also faced with the reality that AOC is going to run for president. She is not going to be pushed on this issue. Hassan Piker is going to give her cover, among other people. And we have to recognize that we're in a situation here where there really needs to be a substantial off-ramp from capitulating within this system. If there's not a direct break in which people start recognizing their own power, then there is never going to be a solution to this nightmare. That is the only way, and would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it.
Totally. I mean, this kind of touches on the video that I made with regard to Abdul El-Sayed and how there's a normalizing aspect that we need to now stay away from. We need to call that out very directly. It's across the board with any political candidate. And the reason why we use AOC and Bernie in a way as the template of what happens to these Democrats, essentially, that go into this liberal world of not fakeness. Honestly, it's all fake. It's all essentially maintaining the status quo that doesn't get us anywhere at this point. So we need to break free of that. And whenever I speak up about it, I even put it in my second video as a follow-up to the one that you guys showed today. I put one out today as a follow-up of the response I got, which was like, chill out, bro, relax, man, calm down, because they're doing this strategically to win the black vote. That's why Kamala Harris and this and that. Like, what are you saying to me right now? Like, that is such an absurdity that you are now cozying up. I even put it into perspective of like, hey, if you were a German citizen, right? Let's talk about this very directly. If you were a German citizen and you had a candidate that was going to, change the game for the German population, but that candidate needs an endorsement by this Nazi politician, right? Would you be okay currently in this day and age, if you were transported back to Nazi Germany, be okay, taking that strategic political route and letting that in, or accepting the endorsement from that Nazi politician? No, not at all. Like, it's absurd to me. You have a person that was actively involved in the genocide of Palestinians, and then on the flip side, you've got a candidate that is pro-Palestinian, anti-genocide, all the rhetoric he's been pushing, and now you're on a fucking flyer together with you saying you're proud to for this endorsement. No, like, do you understand? Like, just think about it in any logical sense. No, that exactly where that path is heading, where Kamala is going to be on the stage with him, raising his hand on a stage. Obama's probably going to be next endorsing him. All of this shit is the same spiral, the same bullshit we are always accustomed to. With Obama's he's a war criminal too. So, like, this is what we have to call out very directly. Like, we cannot operate in the status quo anymore. It's done. We're now when you're in the revolutionary stage in the game and in end game mode, there's no more beating around the bush. You have to be as direct as humanly possible and elect the people that are the most direct as humanly possible. So once you lose that, lose every single aspect of the movement, and then revolution just fizzles out and nothing happens again.
And this is also why, and H2 is a great follower and supporter of the channel and saying he's trying to win a Senate seat. You got to understand something about politics. With the hell that he had to go through to win that primary election, the general election should be easier, not more difficult. The only way that Mike Rogers is going to win the Senate race in November is that the Democratic establishment actively works behind the scenes to get him elected. And don't think for a second that that shit does not go on. And the reason I bring this up is, what is the point of winning if this is what we're reduced to? We have to get it in our heads at some point that if the only option is BDS, worker co-ops, whatever it will take to break the economic and political cycle that has brought us to this brink within this country, that has been the world's hegemon for, 3 generations?
Mm-hmm.
There is no other choice.
Agree.
And some people are going to have to come to that reality sooner rather than later. And if you think it's bad now, like I said, you just wait until Alex announces her run for president and the hoopla that is going to say, yeah, you can laugh. And yes, it's a vanity project, but so many people are going to get caught up in it. So many people that should be putting their energy where it could be so much more effective. They're going to get caught up in this shit. And it's a waste of time, especially right now.
Yes,
it is a waste of time.
But the consultant class needs to make a lot of money. And they won't be able to do that without candidates like that in the race. That's their whole point. And that is what people don't realize. It doesn't matter if she can win. Somebody's still going to make money off of that. But it's silly. She's going to look dumber and dumber every time she opens her mouth. It'll be like Kamala, but worse. And I agree 1,000%, Mo. We are at a point now where we're not negotiating anymore. I feel like this is the same thing with the Iranians with their six demands, whereas it didn't have to be that way. But now that's where we are. So that's where we are with Palestine. See, now it just has to cease to exist. We're not with the, just get out of Gaza now, right? Like, so now it's just, you need to just be completely annihilated. And as I say, lance like a boil off the face of humanity. So now that's where we're at. So yeah, there's no, we're done now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, both of you guys, I mean, the Democrats are very capable, and they've done it in the past where they did, but not just the behind the scenes stuff to get Republicans elected over a Democrat they just don't want.
Oh, yeah.
But they do it in front of your face. And some people are even of the theory that this endorsement from Kamala is, in theory, a way to divide the movement, to make sow doubt in Abdul El-Sayed, and what he and his acceptance of the endorsement was a strategic play to diminish what he stands for. Like, there's all of these theories that are swirling in a way. But then there's
I actually don't agree, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I also don't agree as well, by the way. Just throwing it out there because people are of that mentality right now when I've heard it.
I think she is so narcissistic and is so desperate to garner any type of a pathway to become a viable candidate for president that she'll say anything and do anything. It doesn't matter.
Totally. It's literally, I mean, everything she's doing is for her. I know that. Yeah. And he just fed into it and made himself look horrible by doing that. Let her say whatever the hell she wanted to say. His acceptance was stupid to me. And he just needs to be able to message, of course, correct very quickly as a result. Once he starts to go on that path, he's going to lose a massive amount of people. I'm going to be very frank about this. Our movement doesn't waver. People think this is a divisive thing that I said today, and the video you played. It's not. Our movement is very gung-ho on that mentality. It's the people that are not accustomed to what we know needs to happen. It's the vote blue no matter who, but I'm still pro-Palestinian people. No, you're not. Then you don't know what we know. You don't see the pattern that we've seen. We have pattern recognition for a reason now as Palestinians, and people that are very deep in the pro-Palestinian movement know what's coming next and how our politics slide from here on out. So we need people that stand 10 toes down on saying the things that other politicians have never, ever said. Saying this is a genocide is baseline to me. Saying that, we need a ceasefire is baseline to me. This is all bullshit talk for me. I want you to stand on your ground on the things that the Western pundits and the Western narratives always push us on, which are the same two questions per usual that they always fling at you is, do you condemn October 7th? Do you think Hamas is a terrorist entity? Do you condemn Hamas? All this bullshit. You should be able to now, at this point in time, stand 10 toes down, respond very clearly on your stance on all of that without having to beat around the bush or say, oh, no, yeah, I condemn October 7th. I condemn Hamas and resistance, but I still am all pro-Palestinian. No. We need a candidate that says it like it is from here on out. If you can do that, you'll watch how many people you get and garner as a following. Once you realize that, and once you actually see the fruits of that labor, all the other politicians will stand 10 toes down. Do you think there's a reason why people are scared of AIPAC now? People are distancing themselves from AIPAC because of all the fucking work we've been doing to showcase what they are. That is why. And now politicians who are scared in the past to talk about AIPAC in the way we are now are openly saying, I take 0 AIPAC dollars and take pride in it. right? So that's where we need to be with all the other talking points, because that's when you shut down all the Western media garbage that they fling at you, because you need people that can stand 10 toes down in positions of power to say it like it is. And that's why I want to call you out if you don't do that.
Mia, final thoughts before we depart.
Just on like these Zionist campaigns too. Everybody's talking about the politicians here in San Diego. I wanted to emphasize that our local Code Pink chapter is actually being sued by Zionists. That First Liberty. I don't know if you guys remember. I think her name was Carrie something, but she got kicked out of that organization because she was saying, as a Catholic, I don't believe that Israel has the right to exist, and she was like, no, only Trump can fire me. And so they're going through this litigation process because they started protesting these church Zionist events that were going on. But these churches were holding former members of the Knesset. And then they were also, am I frozen? Am I good? Okay. Yeah, so they were hosting former members of the Knesset, these people who were talking about, oh, the dangers of Palestinianism, but then in the court documents, they were saying, oh, this was a religious event. It's not a religious event if you're talking about the dangers of somebody's identity, you know? And then if we look historically, these are the things that have happened to us. They talked about the dangers of giving Native Americans their freedom and self-determination because they said, oh, they're savages, they're going to be violent. It was the same thing that they used against the African American communities to say their arguments for not giving them freedom. They said, oh, if we free the slaves, they're going to be violent. It's all the same rhetoric, and now we're using it against Palestinians, and they're trying to say that they have a religious reason to do that. But you know, again, we've seen this in our history as well, because they use the Bible to say, oh, there's slavery in the Bible, God wants me to have slaves. I mean, is that how far we're going to go with this religious stuff? And so now the Trump administration is also saying that, you know, separation between church and state is not in our Constitution. So now they're trying to backtrack all of that stuff, and they're trying to blend these political activities within the churches. Here in San Diego, there's also a organization that had a FARA filing. It's called Show Faith by Works. So it's a registered foreign agent here in San Diego, and their goal is to target churches, geofencing, going through getting all of people's informations, and they are going to target with ads. They are going to be outside of churches. They are going to go to the conventions. So all of this, and they're going to have pastors on the payroll. So because Code Pink was protesting these things, now they're getting sued. So I just kind of wanted to emphasize that. If anybody is in any of these religious institutions, please talk to your church about this. Don't let them get inside of your church. The other thing is, if you are a U.S. veteran, please talk to your veteran buddies about the NDAA and to separate the idea of the Israeli military having a merger with the U.S. military. So those are two extremely important things that, yes, I do believe that the Zionists are blowing, you know, their whole campaign like through the roof, but they're throwing a ton of money at it. And there's a lot of people who are not paying attention. And if that's the first thing that they see and hear is, oh, you know, through my church, through my pastor, through trusted people, you know, we need to get this messaging out to them in places that we normally don't have visibility, you know, in.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Lost her.
Something happened. Mo, I just wanted, before she comes back, she was talking about the dangers of Palestinianism. Maybe you could speak to, because I've never heard of this. Is there something, like, I was once at a Magluba contest where they didn't have a vegetarian option. Is that maybe, and this little old, I don't know what the word is in Arabic, but like I would say bubby in Yiddish. So like this little Palestinian bubby came up to me, and I didn't understand her very well, but she understood that I didn't eat meat, but then she offered me chicken. So when we're talking about and she couldn't like try to feed me enough, but that's what I think of when I think of the dangers of Palestinianism. So I don't know if you ever heard of that before.
No, it's the honestly, it's all rooted in I hate using it's not the so what I want to tell everyone, don't ever use the word Islamophobia, by the way. It's anti-Islam. So
They're not scared.
Yeah,
They're
it's
just
exactly.
bigots.
It automatically implies there's a phobia and a fear that needs to be associated with Arabs and Muslims. So that's another day. I can explain all that. But yeah, it's really, when you say free Palestine, that's what threatens the Zionists the most. Saying those two words, that's like the concept that they're trying to, enact, is like when you hear the word Palestine or Palestinian, is automatically think terrorist. Like, this is what you need to think. And we're so past that now that people have, I think the light at the end of the tunnel, and kind of want to end this on a positive note, is that people like you rocking the kufiya proudly, watermelon earrings, like you look great. So many people are now out in the open, white, black, gay, not you said straight, like anybody that is now like, or not anybody and everybody is going on the train with a kufiya on proudly, like, say, come say something to me, because I can proudly check you. That's a new world for me as a Palestinian. I'm just telling you the perspective where I grew up bullied as a child, because I lived in a very highly Zionist neighborhood in Pikesville, Maryland, growing up. And I got bullied like a motherfucker as a child for saying I was Palestinian, to the point where they're like, that's not a country. What's your name? Mohammed? And all of that. Like, you're a terrorist. Like, a lot of that as a kid, which really kind of made me who I am today. So again, maybe not a regret, but it's not easy to go through that kind of shit. But the flip side is going from that, of like kind of hiding my identity in some point in my life, to the point where, because like I said, they were displaced to Jordan, most of my family, I would say I was Jordanian for a portion of my childhood, that I regret so deeply as an adult that I had to do that. But flip the script now. We are so proud to say we are Palestinian and have such a global movement behind us, that it's very beautiful for me as a Palestinian to see. And present company included, no other Palestinian on the panel, but you guys are all Palestinian to me. So I really appreciate all the work you guys have been doing, and it's really truly what you are, the people that inspire me to keep going every single day, because it means what we're saying and doing is working in a way. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad, because anybody stop saying. I've had people say I'm doing cultural appropriation. I'm like, but this was gifted from a Palestinian person, so it's like, I don't know.
Rock it all you want. It's really rock it pridefully.
I feel like we are all Palestinian.
That's, I mean, when we say that, we don't mean it in a way where it's only regional. When I say we are all Palestinian, it's because it's linked to that statement where when Palestine is free, everyone is free.
Yes.
It's a statement of all oppression. Like, once you see that boot on the Palestinians' neck is lifted, because it's so tied to Western society that is also oppressing the minority population all over the world. That's what we mean. That, like, we are all Palestinian, and when Palestinian freedom exists, freedom across the world can exist. So that's what we mean by it. And this is exemplified by the people I see and meet every single day. It's like a community that I've truly cherished every single day.
Yeah. I like seeing you get with the other people too. Like it's so great. It was Jacob, right? Were you with Jacob?
Which one?
Was he with Jacob? Did you affiliate with Jacob Berger? Am I thinking of a wrong cross-pollination? I might be thinking of the wrong.
It was a while back. Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to Jacob in a minute, but I mean, I collaborated with a bunch of Jewish people in the community. I mean, honestly, like, those are some of my closest friends, are actually the very staunch, like, anti-Zionist Jewish people, and it's really beautiful. Like, they rock the kufiya more than I do, and that says a lot, because I'm practically dripping in Palestinian gear all the time. So it's just really a beautiful thing to see, and I think this is ultimately, once we start to connect all the dots and stop associating it, people like true to the movement like me know that this isn't just a Palestinian issue. We need to start to connect the dots. And like Mia probably knows, I'm affiliated now with a coalition that represents the Black Panthers, the Panther Party, the American Indian Movement, even the Rednecks of America, the Brown Berets of the Chicano movement. Like, I am literally on a screen and on a Zoom call with all of these people that are leaders in their groups, and being able to speak my piece for my people and how it connects to all of their movements. That is a different world, a beautiful world that I genuinely can envision, where all of our movements come together to topple the empires that be in the future. So that is ultimately the goal here.
Mo, I'll message you offline. If there are leaders within these movements that you would recommend that we have on the podcast to kind of build this, what do you call it, Jen? There's like there's a web. Yeah,
I
Jen.
say it's a web. I'm thinking of building a web. So every time you make a connection between, because it's not really a line, not really a circle, it's kind of a web.
Yeah, so the goal here obviously is to connect as many people that are committed to the movement as possible without losing sight of the ultimate goal, which is from the river to the sea, Palestine will be, must be, and shall be free. And that is the only way that the United States of America could ever be free again. Guys, can't thank you enough. The work that you do, it's like I said, it's incredible, and yet we feel at the same time it's never enough. So let's keep collaborating. Mia, Mo, appreciate you guys. Links will be in the description. Make sure you follow on Instagram, which is where their best work is done. Guys, if you want to plug it real quick before we go so everybody knows how to find you, awesome. Thanks again, and we will definitely be talking soon. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Should I type it in the chat? Oh, for me, it's Space Bunny News 1 on Instagram, and I think I changed it to Space Bunny News 1 on TikTok also.
Jen, I think you're on mute.
We'll have links in the chat, right? We always have links in the, not in the chat, in the description.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, if it lasts, my 45th account, it's so aya.mo.llah. So Ayamola, play on Ayatollah.
And if his account gets deleted, you can always refer back to my account. I always post his new account. So
She's the best. Yes. I wanted to say, actually,
I
while
got you.
to end this, though, I'm sorry to jump on and extend the time, but Mia, I wanted to say really heart to heart, I love you very much. I am so proud of everything that you have done. You're honestly a ride or die family to me. What you did on the flotilla is a beautiful, courageous, absurdly brave thing. And in a sense, you were a part of me going on that trip, because a lot of my family wouldn't allow me to go for very obvious reasons. I would be some sort of trophy capture for the IOF.
you wouldn't have came back.
I know that might. So that's something that I really truly value, is like you were a piece of me that went to do this, and which is why I wanted to be close to you throughout the whole journey. And push you as much as I can. And I was so happy, so enraged to see what they did to you, but so happy to see you come home safe and see your little cutie. So I'm really indebted to you from like a really, truly just sacrificial way. What you did was really beautiful to me. So I just wanted to say that while we're live on camera.
Oh, that was so sweet. And I would also put out there, Mia and Mo, I am somebody that would be very happy to participate in a lot of things, but I don't do boats.
Yeah.
I don't do boats. That's the thing. Like, but in so many other capacities, you know. But I think you're both amazing, and I'm very appreciative that you came here and came on our show.
No, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, peace.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys.
Take care.
And this is why
Am I echoing again? Yep.
Well, anyway, that's why we do what we do. And if you are so inclined, please consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty, despite heavily suppressed, yet still growing channel. We have some awesome super chatters to get to. Steve Spates, I don't know if you've contributed before, but thank you very much. $2 for the APAC tracker is a blessing. Yes, they are. They have obviously done a lot of impressive work, and we really appreciate it. Jim Talib with the $5. Always great to see you. Dark Zombies, what could we say? With the $100 super chat. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve fell below 300 million barrels today. Wednesday, diesel fuel reports 100 million barrels is the minimum. We are at 107 million is the current level. Free Palestine, and we will all be free. And let's be honest, it's the United States of America. The only thing this country understands is money and power. It's the only thing we understand. Human
Peter's
lives,
hair is not purple.
human lives be damned. They don't matter. This is again, if there was a financial incentive, a true financial incentive to save the Palestinian people or the southern Lebanese people or the Iranian people, we would have done it already. But there isn't. The financial incentive is with Israel for now. And that's the only reason. And as Iran, as Jen has said before, is saving humanity with their efforts, that's ostensibly
Iran is
what's gonna
fighting for
happen.
the soul of humanity.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's exactly how it's going to end. Piano Man with the $10 super sticker. Always a pleasure. We always appreciate your support. Nawal Najer with the $19.99. Thank you, Free Palestine and the world from Zionists. We're doing the best we can. That goes without saying. Saucy Spice with the $9.99. I always find it interesting, the color coordinates that shift depending on where the person's contribution may be coming from. To my knowledge, none of the countries where people were abused defended them against these atrocities. Is there a way that these activists can do a lawsuit against Israel for what happened to them? Jen, that's your territory.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of, because at the end of the day, they were kidnapped in international waters, right? So that would mean that they would be subject to maritime laws, international law, and things that nobody seems to follow anymore, which is what Mo was referring to. So technically, the grounds for a suit would have to be based in international law. But so that's the problem. I don't know what their standing would be in the International Court of Justice, because that's what it would be. I guess it would be civil, so it would be the International Court of Justice. I don't know. Maybe there are organizations that are looking into that. There might be international human rights type organizations that have looked into that or are working on that. But the problem I would suggest is that even if something made it to some sort of international tribunal, they have no real authority because we're not forced to comply. So I don't know. I guess that's as best of an answer I can come up with, is that I don't see how it would ever be effectuated.
Marvin Vargas with the $1.99. Have Ken O'Keefe on. Mavi Maramara Flotilla 2010 10 Kia. Marvin, we have been trying to get Ken O'Keefe on the podcast for a
Ken
while.
O'Keefe has been overseas for a really, really long time. And he's not nearby. He's far, far away.
We're working on it. Hopefully we'll get him at some point. And finally, our good friend Jay Buffont with the $2. Jen and Peter doing an amazing job.
Thank you,
Guys,
Jay.
check out RBN. Jay Buffont.
I don't know that he's there. No, I don't think Jay is. I'm not sure. Jay, if you're still watching,
guys, subscribe to Jay Buffont's channel. And I know he collabs with our friend Sabrina Salvati, Savvy Sebs. So definitely check that out. If you haven't, like I said, we got a lot of work to do still, and that's why we do what we do. And again, do not forget, we also have a Substack. So here it is. You can find us at substack.com/@revolutionary-change. We are also streaming on X, on Facebook, on TikTok. We're not streaming on TikTok. We are streaming on Instagram. But you can find us on all of these places at Revolutionary Change. And we ask you, if you haven't already, please make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube. This is where our revenue comes from. It's where it's generated. So if you can subscribe here, obviously it makes a world of a difference. And this is how we can continue doing the things that we're doing. And obviously a big shout out to our amazing supporters who also do an incredible job helping us continue to stay afloat despite the suppression from the algorithm. Now, we had 2 more stories to get to this evening, but we're only going to be able to get to 1. And of course, this one is.
Oh, wait. What are the, wait. No. I want to have a vote then. What are our choices? What are we going with here? Like, we need to, what's the story? Which one though?
Oregon.
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Well, we have to do it because we've got a fun video to go with it.
Okay.
So
So are we, is it Zio Hunter?
oh, absolutely. It's Zio hunting. And guys,
Okay.
smash that like button, share and subscribe if you haven't already. It's great to see Mehdi back in the chat. Very much so that this is important. And of course, as Jay says, give that thumbs up before you go. You know, I'm not that buff yet, but give me another 3 or 4
You
months.
do realize it's your face imposed over Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, I thought it was me for a second. I got
Yes,
excited.
that's you, especially with the ink all over yourself there.
Yes, absolutely. You know, especially with the red skin and all that. You know, that's definitely me. It is incredible. First of all, let's be fair. We are still living in a country where a lot of people do not understand that we have animals walking amongst us, including IOF soldiers that are actually women, not even
The
men.
problem with calling them animals is I feel, and I've said that before, but it's sort of a disservice to animals.
How about we call them vermin? Is that better?
Mm.
Cockroaches? Let's throw all the tropes out there that they would throw at them and claiming that that's what they were always called. So to me, always go to the bottom of the barrel. But the lady's name in question here is Melina Suarez. So we're going to take it from the top. This is Melina Suarez. I believe this is at the beginning of 2025.
Who is Melina Suarez? Give some context.
Well, Melina Suarez is somebody who is an Israeli Mexican American who defected from the U.S. to join the IOF in Israel. Here it is.
Oh.
Horror. I saw what was happening, and at that moment I knew I need to get back as soon as possible.
Melina Suarez is an active combat search and rescue soldier with the Israeli forces who grew up here in Portland.
So exactly what is happening now is our responsibility.
Visiting family during the Jewish holiday, but that quickly changed when she saw what had broken out in the Middle East over the weekend.
I lost people that I was in training with. This attack was completely unexpected. No one had any clue, a total surprise.
So now she's headed back to fight next week and says she's ready despite her family's concern for her safety.
Knowing that this is the reality, what I'm heading back to, I feel prepared. I feel ready mentally. I'm not scared because I know
I know that Hashem is with me. That's what you want. Do you understand that you can't judge a book by its cover? That you can look at somebody like this and you would never think in a million years that this is a person who is going over there to mass murder women and children? They're all amongst us.
It goes to show you that someone's background, someone's skin color does not necessarily indicate whose team they're on. And something that I've heard Sabby say, talking about Sabrina Salvati, is not all skin folk are kinfolk. And so I see somebody saying, you said she's a Mexican American?
So she is a Mexican American who is Israeli Jewish. Again, I don't know.
No, I don't understand. If you're a Mexican American,
yeah,
then I don't understand. So did she convert to Judaism and then decide to go make Aliyah and get birthright? Like,
I'm not
I don't
sure.
understand the Israeli portion.
For those who don't know, Mexico and Brazil are the two highest concentrated Catholic countries in the world. And as a result, if somebody is Mexican and says that they're Israeli, I mean, but there's no such thing as Israeli. That's the thing. It doesn't exist.
And I agree. Like Mexican people that I knew when I was in law school, and a lot of the Mexican people that I knew came from families that were like there for so many years before it was part of, before Texas became, before Mexico became Texas. And so, yeah, when the indigenous people, they're not with this. And really, is it any different than the Black misleadership class or people that sell out their own in any capacity? I mean, really?
Oh, absolutely.
God has always been with me. My family's always praying for me. My community is always praying for me.
But she isn't going back empty-handed. She will be traveling back with supplies for fellow soldiers, like socks, toothbrushes, deodorant, and more.
I know things are missing, supplies missing, and soldiers can't get up and go to the store. They have a war to fight.
And she's asking for your help. You can donate items to Congregation Kessler Israel.
In the first 48 hours, we've raised over $100,000 from hundreds of donors across the community, both Jewish and non-Jewish.
You can also donate to the Jewish Federation of Greater Portland. Funds will be used for basic needs for Israelis impacted by the war, especially care. Mark Blattner is the CEO and says the outpouring of support has been immense, but still finds it difficult knowing so many Israelis are hurting.
I sent a note to the Jewish community just yesterday about how I cried myself to sleep on Monday night. It was the first time I took a breath to really understand what was happening.
You know, these are civilians.
The fuck was he crying
These
about?
are people.
Oh my God.
For the first time in years, my wife didn't make me watch her have sex with the mailman.
No, I feel like this guy needs a handbag for his sack, because I don't understand what is he talking about? Oh my God.
He doesn't have a sack. He's trying to find it, but it's gone. Snipped off.
Cried myself to sleep on Monday night. It was the first time I took a breath to really understand what was happening.
You know, these are civilians. These are people, your neighbors, your family, cousins, babies, you know, that are being hit. It's not even a matter of war, about terrorism now. And I think
This is all projection. All of it. All projection. You're muted.
Yeah. Whoever's saying she's American, yeah, of course. The entire Americas, that's the Mexican American, you know, she could be Mexican American born here with Mexican lineage. She could be Mexican Native Indigenous American because they're part of the Americas. So there's a whole thing going on there. But she's a piece of shit, so it doesn't really matter to me what her ethnicity is. And people that come from people who are traditionally oppressed and support the oppression of other people are particularly despicable to me. It's just the way I feel. It doesn't have to even be reasonable with that. If you come from people that are oppressed and you oppress other people, yeah.
And it's unfortunate because that's something that's fairly common.
Yes. It's gross.
Yeah. And with that being said, leave it to Jen's favorite, and I do mean favorite fellow ex-Zionist, to explain the full depth of this despicable Mexican posing as an Israeli.
Wait, you have a David
here in
clip?
Italy, but I had to come on to tell you a story about a bloodthirsty American named Melina Suarez. She's a Mexican-American woman who was raised in Oregon, who chose to enlist in the IDF for the genocide in Gaza. What kind of person enters a genocidal country, joins their military, loots and steals, and then smiles about it when she returns home? Someone who wants the experience of killing with impunity. And there's a historical precedent that proves she did just that. So
okay. I was dismissed from my job in Luxembourg because of my support for Palestine and my opposition to the war on Gaza. It's not a war, it's a genocide. Why do people still insist on calling this a war? I don't understand this.
It's like other things. It's like other things that Mo was saying about Islamophobia, and I often do point out on this show, is words matter. What we refer to things matter. Like when you recently said we need to stop calling them data centers, they're not. They're surveillance centers.
Oh yeah.
And we words matter. They do. So the more, because that's how we end up writing history.
And this is the thing about David that is so true. It's that he just said, which is there are a lot of cowardly people out there. This is kind of like, in a way, when you think about it, like big game hunters that just want to shoot an elephant that just want to shoot a lion? For what reason? Because I'm such an emasculated human, you know, kind of like the Trump sons, that they feel that they have to go out and do this to prove their masculinity. That's why a man talks about, I had to cry myself to sleep at night. Why? Because you fancy yourself as something bigger than what you are? Or in the case of this Melina Suarez lady, what do you think she
But
was
who
doing?
is the woman that he has right there on that? Because that's not her.
No, this is somebody else. He's referring to what some of the other people have to go through because they're standing up for Palestine. They end up getting fired. They end up getting removed. Yet this fucking woman steps up and says, oh, I want to join the IOF. Sure, we'll join you. We'll even put you in a protective unit so you can shoot people that aren't even armed.
But why is this can I just ask, like, other than the fact that she comes from oppressed people, which I do find particularly, you know, problematic in this case, why is this different from any other U.S. person that has been serving in the IOF? We have a lot of people that have served in the IOF, people from the United States, from Canada, from Mexico, probably from Latin America, definitely from South America. So all of the Americas have war crime participants, right? Like all of the Americas. So, I mean, yes, this is just one particular case. Right. Like, so I just don't understand if this is in any way different than any of those other cases.
Well, it is. We'll get to that.
My friend Fatima told me about the Sarajevo Safari. So I took a deep dive. And during the genocide in Sarajevo, wealthy foreigners paid to shoot civilians for sport. The IDF let you do it for free. And this wasn't unprecedented. Under Nazi occupation, organized search for Jews in hiding were called Jew hunts. If Suarez genuinely wanted to defend people from invasion, Ukraine was right there for the taking. But IDF cowards like Melina, she doesn't like it when an actual military is capable of fighting back. So the point is, if evil is to be had, Israel is the capital of the world. So after serving in the world's most genocidal military, the IDF, what was her next move? She came home and joined the police. Because apparently, after learning how to abuse civilians and power trips over ordinary people, becoming a cop is the obvious next step. She didn't go to Israel to help people. She went to Israel where a uniform gave her permission to hunt people who couldn't fight back.
You can't see this from here, but Ben, I need you to pull up that tweet, please.
Okay, so guys, pay attention again to the interconnectedness of the IOF and our police force in this country. And this is when, you know, this would actually be a good mission abolition episode to get further into this. But the link between that military and what's going on in terms of over-militarized policing and police abuse of power in this country is completely connected, not just because of training and sharing information and all of that, all of those things, but literally the same people are serving in both those capacities. It's the same people.
Ben, that's not what I asked for. Please pull
Can you
up
not say it so like condescendingly though? Just say it kind of nicely. Yes, but you do. You say it kind of mean.
I am firm, but I am fair. That's all I say. I need the
It
tweet.
sounds condescending.
I need the tweet related to the story we're talking about.
Now I'm echoing again.
Ben, please pull up the tweet.
Does that work? Nope.
Ben, I'm going to ask you one more time. Can you please pull up the tweet related to what we're talking about? I need the tweet specifically pertaining to this woman, Melina Suarez. I believe that's her name.
I only have the two tweets you sent me, these two.
I sent it to you. I'll send it again. I'm looking right at it.
Okay.
It's suppressed news. That's the highlight. So just pull it.
Colin will be
Colin
back.
Colin will be back Thursday. Ben has filled in mightily for the past 2 weeks, and we are very appreciative. But Colin will be back on Thursday. I did not punish Colin to the phantom zone, despite what some people may think.
Ben is fine. I believe Ben is fine. Colin took a vacation is where he went. He needed a much needed vacation.
Yes. Now
I'm echoing again. But now I'm just
The
going to live with it.
conclusion of this
Finish the
story-
story.
Yes, the conclusion of the story and why this is important is because I did 2 things I want you to understand here. Number one, this image of the woman, and this is from Suppressed News, Melina Suarez served in the IDF and posted a photo with prayer beads looted from Palestinians. Today, she is a police officer with the Columbia River Intertribal Police Department in Oregon, which I believe is by Salem, if I'm not mistaken. How can she even be trusted with any supervision over people when we heard all of the war crimes the IOF has committed? And if you scroll just a little bit, you can see these 2 pictures here.
Hold on a second. I muted you because that helps. So if I'm talking, got to mute you. So if she is with an intertribal police department, then that means this is complete tribal sovereignty. So this isn't even something wherein people are going to have any control over this that are not in that tribe or in that intertribal, whichever tribes are in the intertribal, that community. That's what I was going to say. This is not a typical state municipal kind of situation. Just saying. And shame on that tribe. Shame on those tribes.
Well, I mean, I was going to say that makes it even worse. And that's the sin here.
No, I meant in terms of people having any control to call or do anything or make a fuss or whatever. I mean, yeah, you could, but this isn't a typical situation where we would feel it's civil. And by civil, I don't mean versus animalistic. I mean versus tribal and not within our municipal system.
There's no question that this is a deliberate amount of evil that can't be put into words. All I can say is that it is incumbent upon us to continue to use our platform as best we can to draw as much attention to this as we can, because one thing you're going to notice is that the more these rats on a ship flee, which is what they're going to do, they're going to start popping up in places. And they should be dealt with. Period. There is no exception here.
And that's the thing is that this needs to be handled amongst that tribe. That's exactly what I'm saying. And just like the Palestinian community handled their traders that were supporters in helping the IOF in Gaza when they were able to do so. This has to be handled by people that are tribal in those tribes who are in solidarity with Palestine and other oppressed peoples.
Guys, thanks again for the amazing evening. We have a few more super chats to get to before we get out of here. Let's give a shout out to Sonia with the $4.99 time to bounce. I loved the guest this evening. Happy Monday to everyone. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your week and free Palestine. Right back at you, sister. Carson Cruz with the $10. Thank you, Jen and Peter. Cried himself to sleep. Free Palestine. That one is not soon going to be forgotten. Like, that one's going to be a meme. I cried. That, you know what? You might want to clip that to go with Ben Shapiro punching himself in the face.
Honestly, I want to mute yourself for a second. I want to, not only that, but I also wanted to say to you before, I felt so inspired to create some sort of Haley Stevens sloth graphic. But now that she's sort of out of the picture, it doesn't seem like it'll be relevant. But once that I saw that she was called sloth faced, it pleased me to no end, and it was so inspiring.
She brought that on herself by playing into it. Like, it is what it is. And Carson Cruz with the $10 one more time. Very late to join this evening. A thank you to Ben or Colin or whoever may be helping out. Kind regards. Absolutely. So smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We love you all. We appreciate you all. We will see you
Wait,
Thursday.
let me answer this first. Let me answer this first. We will see you Thursday and free Palestine, but Mud of Genius, you could call it Islam hate or bigotry or just hate. I mean, I would go with hate. It works. Free Palestine, guys.
Good night, guys.